All right. And we are live. The Last Word with LordCognito and Ebontis. Fresh Friday morning campfire. Nice returning guest, E. So, we gotta do things right for him. But how you doing, man?
I'm doing good this morning. Got family in town, but they're nice enough to let me chat with this gentleman. So we got to introduce him just like we always do. Even though he's been here before, we got to do it again.
Let's do it.
All right. Good morning and welcome to The Last Word, episode 123. I'd like to introduce a guest whose skills behind the keyboard for the last decade have vaulted him to heights in the journalism world few get to achieve. With 5 published books and his own profile on Amazon, this man puts words easily 10,000 words a day into the world. Sorry, can't even talk, and this guy's a writer, so this is going well.
You're good.
Oh, good. That's right. This man writes for the same magazine of Forbes as all these rich people get to. So, how did he get so famous? Video games, of course. So, he is no run-of-the-mill gamer, though. His knowledge of the looter-shooter genre, especially in that genre, is nearly unrivaled. I'm botching this whole thing. Sorry. It's like I wrote it last night, and I like ruined it. I know.
Scripts are hard to.
You good, brother? Keep going.
Fully do.
He is no run-of-the-mill gamer. His knowledge of the looter-shooter genre, especially, is nearly unrivaled, along with his playtime, I'm sure. From Destiny and Borderlands to more time than possibly anyone else in Avengers, his articles come back by many hours of blood, sweat, and pixels. But he not only covers games and writes books, this man has hot takes on TV shows the same day they are released. Wherever does this man find the time? And he's honestly written over 7,500 articles, 1,400 in 2020 so far. To top it all off, this man not only started his own YouTube channel, it was successful in mere days, all without even needing a fancy intro. He has also amassed a following on Twitter that ensures Forbes keeps paying him the big bucks, so make sure you keep clicking those links. Finally, if you're curious about checking out a game he covers, he will make sure you know the top 10 things he wishes he knew before he started. So without further ado, let's welcome back a great friend of the show, Mr. Paul Tassi. How you doing, sir?
Hey,
Big Paul, what's going on, brother?
I appreciate that. Thanks for all the kind words. That means a lot. I always love these intros. It's my favorite.
He got you last time, so I had to trade.
Yeah, that's great. Man. Thank you.
I literally counted up. I was like, you have literally written over 7,500 articles, at least on Forbes. That was like since 2010.
That can't be true. That can't be true. There's no way.
Trust me, I was in there with my little numpad counting them up last night, and I went 2010 every month up. It was 1,400 this year.
Wow.
Oh, okay, yeah. Total? Yeah, okay, I could see that. Yeah,
Total,
yeah, they've really gone up
14.
as the years it's gone on.
Oh, yeah, you can see like 30 every month. It's like a daily thing that jumps to like 50, so you're doing 2, and then all of a sudden you're like hundreds every month. I was like, damn.
It's a lot of
I dropped everywhere else I was writing for. I used to write for a bunch of sites, and then I'm like, I'm just going to do Forbes. So that's how I'm at 6 a day now for them. So
that's so crazy.
Nice, man. What you been playing? What's been taking up the majority of your time?
Waifu Simulator?
Genshin Impact.
Genshin.
I don't call it that.
I've heard
it is a much less like scandalous game than everyone thinks it is. Like it's a lot more family friendly than I was envisioning it was.
So for those who don't know,
it's very addicting.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a Chinese clone of Breath of the Wild, which it kind of is. Is a free-to-play open-world RPG. The environment looks like Breath of the Wild, but the characters are just like straight anime characters. And I didn't really, it wasn't really on my radar, but Miss 5000 Watts and Gothalion were like really hyping it up, and I just downloaded it because it was free, and I gave it a shot, and I was deeply surprised by how much it offers for free. It is a gacha game, so there's like pulls, and you spend money on it, but it takes a long time to really feel like kind of that pressure. You could probably get 20, 30 hours into it before you even really have to consider spending money, and even then you really don't. It just kind of turns into a daily login, like get your bounties done kind of thing, and new story missions and stuff are added in time, and it's really fun. Combat's great. It does not have weapon durability, which gives it one leg up over Breath of the Wild. So.
I saw
the chat is already starting to agree with you too. Shout out to Well, and bro, he's like, yo,
Oh,
weapon
no, a
degradation.
buddy of-
So it's already better than Breath of the Wild.
No, I have a buddy of mine. He's like, he could not stand that about the weapon durability. So when you said that, I was like, I mean, for some people, if it's like, you're like, hey, I got a cool weapon, but I'm afraid to use it. That was even for me, like I didn't actually beat the whole Breath of the Wild because Breath of the Wild, Horizon, and Destiny were all too close together. But yeah, that was an issue for me. And it's probably something as a Zelda guy I'd probably get over, but I could see like, hey, I got a cool weapon, but I don't want to use it. That kind of defeats the purpose of getting a cool weapon, but I guess they do probably drop a lot. So I don't know.
Strategy.
I never
No,
got
but I
that far
understand.
in, so I was like, I know a lot of people love it.
No, but I understand that the one of the knocks for some people, it's definitely that, and I get it. I understand that viewpoint. You know, I disagree, but I understand people like, hey man, I worked hard for this weapon. I want to use it multiple times. I don't know. It actually made me a little bit more diverse on my weapon selection. But I completely understand for those who have that frustration.
How big is like Genshin's world compared?
It's compared to Breath of the Wild, I think it's smaller right now, except the thing is they're adding a bunch of new zones. So like I think there's going to be 7 zones in total, and there's only 2 out right now.
Damn.
And one of the 2 is really big by itself. So at a certain point, it definitely will be bigger than Breath of the Wild just by default. And with how much money it's made, they're probably going to be investing in this and adding stuff to it for a really long time. So
well, they've already had how many, like 20 million downloads or something I saw, and that's probably
at least
an old
20
stat.
million, and that's just on. I think that's just on mobile. Yeah, I don't even know. We don't even have PC and like PS4 data yet, so it's huge.
Yeah,
and the big deal is that it's huge outside of Asia. So
I think it probably just hit. I think everybody was so desperate because everybody's playing stuff like Among Us. I saw Fall Guys dropped recently, but there was just like there was nothing, and it was free, and they're like, "All right, I'll try it," and sure enough, worked pretty well.
Yeah. Man.
Well, nothing happened in Destiny, so we'll just wrap this up and get you off.
Wrap up. Slow week.
slow week. Yeah.
Let's get to it.
But yeah, we've gotten to know this man before, so we can jump into the Destiny stuff. Nice pieces. We have a lot to talk about. Every time we like schedule guests out, and I had like, Paul on the schedule a few weeks out and stuff, and I was like, okay, let's narrow it down. And I'm always waiting to know what's going to come. And of course, we get Paul when there's way too much to talk about, so it's good. Festival of Lost. We got to start there, at least go in order. I've seen many thoughts on like strategies about ciphers. I did a little grinding on my own. Just curious how you guys thought about it. If you care, if you're digging the armor, just what are your thoughts about what you've seen so far? And of course, Paul, you're first. You're the guest.
Yeah, it's not amazing. I think they had to improvise at the last minute because I don't think this was the original plan, because Mercury is not even supposed to be in the game if Beyond Light wasn't delayed. So I think they really had to kind of just rip the whole thing from last year, which is why we're getting things like 750 drops like from chests and things. It's just a lot of it is not caught up. Though I will say the armor, the Eververse armor, is extremely good. Probably one of the best holiday sets they've ever done. It's amazing. I wish in a perfect world that was something you could earn from the Haunted Forest and like get drops of that. That would be cool. But that is not the world we live in. The cipher system, the cipher system is very not really well thought out. I don't think the rates initially were just so bad that they might as well not have even existed. Now they're a little better, but it's still, you got to do like 5, 6, 7, 8 activity completions of some sort to get a full 5 to make one run of the Haunted Forest, which I don't really understand that logic. I don't know why they didn't just do the more branches you clear, the more chests you get, the more shots you get of stuff. And then I don't really like the loot either. Like I don't it's kind of sad to not have even like one new reskinned gun that was new. So we have the old reskinned ones that the perk pools are like okay, but there's so many better auto rifles already that it just, the only thing I'm going for is the Triumph to get the different exotics and then the spooky emblem and whatever this mystery consumable thing is that you get at the very end of all of it.
I heard about
but
that.
But besides that,
some lens.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I can't tell if that's a big deal or nothing, but it's interesting. It's some sort of like ascendant lens or something.
Yeah,
and
I saw like a
no
picture
one
of it. I
knows
was
what
like,
it
what the hell
does.
is this?
Yeah,
I don't even
we have
know.
not been able to figure out if it does anything or not, but it takes up space in your inventory,
It's
which
just
is
a
definitely not
bifocal
something
so
we
you can
need.
look like the Monopoly guy. That's all it is.
Well, it reminds me of like the tincture of Queensfire, whatever it's called, where it's like you can see into the ascended plane or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually, like, I haven't heard anyone finding anything with it, and I feel like somebody probably would have by now, so we'll see. Yeah, overall, I mean, I wasn't expecting much from this event, and besides the armor, I don't think there's really much to it.
Cognito, what do you think?
Yeah, man.
Have you touched it much, or?
Yeah, I did. I actually finally got a chance to play a little bit this week, and pretty much Paul nailed it. I mean, it's we understand the situation here. This is content that is literally, should have been already, in the new season. Obviously, it's been stretched out. Things had to be adjusted. The Infinite Forest is the Infinite Forest. You go in, you shoot stuff, have a little fun, get a little scare when they chase you. And then, you get the loot. Now, the Cypher thing is interesting. The drop rates were horrible. So, that definitely didn't inspire me. Also, the fact that it's, horror story and, the Braytech werewolf, again, 450 is not in the greatest place anyway. The random rolls, I felt, the drops could have been increased a little bit with that for more runs so I can get more chances to farm specific rolls. But other than that, to be honest, the only reason why I really dropped in is due to Paul, because I saw his tweet and he's like, yo, interference updated. I'm like, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing first.
That's like the best thing of the week right there.
That was the cool thing this week, yeah.
That was the best thing, bro. And I saw your tweet and I was just like, I can't wait to see that. And, the whole Nocris thing was cool. Shout out to that. That was really cool. But as far as, Festival of Lost, it's just not my favorite event. Historically, it's just not been my favorite event. I've never really cared for it when it was Festival of the Cost. They've tried to get better. Shout out to the trailer this year, though. The trailer actually fooled me. Like, the Rock trailer was moving. Like, Bungie always does great
that's really good.
that. So I'm like, okay. But it is what it is. And like I said, we understand the situation, so I'm not going to go hard on them. We just gotta hold the fort down until November 10th come and they get that extra time. But what about you? You deep dive in there, get your spooky on?
That's all I see on Twitter right now is spooky this, spooky that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just me. It's fine.
He refuses?
I'm not gonna be spooky because it's gonna change. And then you guys are gonna be like turkey people and By the way, random tangent, because I'm just sitting here going through holidays in my mind. Did anybody see that weird trailer for that Mel Gibson Santa movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even know what that was. Anyway, yeah, go watch that if you want to question some life decisions for a second. No, for me, like, Festival is, we had low expectations, or at least I did in the first place, because we knew it's like right before Beyond Light. They're all focused on that. This was like 2019 save as plus cipher decoders, copy paste, go. Like, it wasn't a whole lot different. And of course, as you said, Paul, like, Mercury is leaving. This shouldn't have even been in there, because so I honestly wonder, is like, as you said, did they have another festival planned for Beyond Light that we'll see next year that we don't this time? Or I'm honestly kind of curious how that would play out, since Mercury would be completely gone. Would they actually send us into the Haunted Forest just through like the tower director? Even though Mercury is gone, like, would that be like a patch download and all of a sudden your game shrinks like a month later or something? I'm kind of wondering, like, if this was going to be it anyway. I honestly don't know. So,
like, in its
that's
current
all.
form.
Yeah, but the cipher decoders,
It's possible,
like,
yeah, I don't know if they could separate it out or not. They could.
Yeah, because I mean, you spawn straight in the forest, kind of in a weird, different area, and they just kind of use that environment. We always teleport in and out of it. I don't know. It could be somewhere buried in the game that they might use. I would be happy if this is the last time we see the Haunted Forest. We've seen it for 6, I think. Or we had the Revelry, we had this, we had Mercury one too many times. Over Halloween Scrooge, come on, Sin.
Yeah, they calling you the Scrooge of Halloween right now.
No.
They're going in on you right now. I love it. Chat is going in.
The biggest thing I would say is like the ciphers, though, because I figured they would have learned their lesson in reckoning that you get something in here that you use somewhere else, and this whole like cross thing. Why you can't get ciphers in the Haunted Forest? I don't get it.
Yeah,
I really
don't get it. Yeah, in the activity itself, that is interesting.
Even some, it doesn't, like the main chest. Maybe you get one, or you get a chance, and that's like there's no incentive to go for more branches. Is it just like, what should you like, stop at 5 and be done? Like, is that the most efficient way to go?
Interesting design choice. I agree. Not to be able to farm them in the activity itself, whereas they want you to do other activities for a chance to it. But shout out to them for at least being, agile as far as the drop rates and trying to patch in. I thought that was a
Yeah.
very quick patch. So,
Well, you were doing.
how you guys doing with drop rates since?
I haven't played as much since. I did a couple Vanguard strikes and I got 0. And then I saw Chevy was doing Adept Nightfalls and got like 90+% drop on Adept Nightfalls. So apparently
it's
that's
double drops, so it's almost guaranteed for more deals, I think. Yeah.
That's why.
But I don't know how many Adept Nightfalls I want to run in a row. So I've had pretty good since the buff, but it's still not what they said. It's not like umbral rates.
No,
because like you're drowning in umbrals, but you're still not.
Yeah,
because it's only at activity completion, which is not enough, and I don't really want to run 5 to 10 activities before every forest run.
Well, and then
I got 1 on my first strike. I got 2 in my first 2 nightmare hunts. My Tolan farm does not really have seemed to have benefited from this drop rate increase. Like it just, I did not have good luck with it trying
Tassi's
it
trail,
the other day.
like
So the Tassi trail, yes, that's I love that phrase. I don't know. I don't think that's probably the most efficient thing to even do anymore. Maybe it's nightmare hunts. Maybe it's Adept Nightfalls if you have a team for that. But it's still it's going to be kind of a drag to get to 45 or whatever you need. Yeah. I think I'm at 20. It's I don't know. I honestly don't even know if I'll finish, but see.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing is like if it's one activity completion. And it's like, okay, over the course of a month, will I get 45 done? That's like 1.5 a day. It's not that bad, but also if people want to grind through it, you're asking me to do 45 Crucible matches or Nightfalls or Nightmare Hunts. And I don't know, you can get it everywhere, but it is just very weird that you can't get any in the forest. There's no incentive. And then after you do your 45 Nightfalls, then you got to go do, a decent chunk of forest runs. You got to go do 9 forest runs in between there, and you're capped at 25. So you got to do get your 25, go do your 5 forest runs, then come back out, do more. It just seems weird. So I'm hoping this is kind of our last seasonal event of this style. Infinite Forest can go again, as we've talked about before. I'm just hoping Beyond Light is like, all right, we're cleaning some stuff up here and just like putting this in the vault and just cleaning the table off. It's going to look prettier when we're done.
To me, the Cypher feels like an engagement play. They understand, I don't know, it just feels like they know that people are not going to be playing, almost in the vein of, I know this week they've increased doing the double drops with the Nightfall. All this stuff is trying to just basic routine stuff that we've been doing to keep going, and they're just in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot. That's just all it is. So this is all filler stuff, and we just got to survive, boys. Just got to survive. You got to push through. That's it.
We're almost there. It's literally almost a month.
Days?
It's like a month and a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, festival happened, but interference, man. I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about that final mission, because the voice dialogue and everything that we got in there, the final piece of the lore from Eris. Just wanted to see what you guys thought actually playing through that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in if you want. I thought it was cool. I thought I love the introduction. Obviously Nokris has been talking to us the whole time. Quote me if I'm wrong, if this is the first time I heard the quote "Taken Queen," I don't know if it was ever referenced. I can't remember.
Did Eris say it in Zavala's office? That's the only other place I could picture it.
Yeah, so maybe I'm off.
I feel like I heard it at least once.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe for me, it was like, I was like, wow, this is maybe the first time they referenced it. But if for whatever reason, it resonated different when it was said. But yeah, it was cool. Different little mechanic. Obviously, Nokris comes back, the whole thing. We get a little lore tease and stuff like that. It was a nice little conclusion. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have too many problems with it. I think they're setting up the next season. I think if this season of Arrivals didn't get delayed, and it ended on time, I would have been okay with that transitionary piece going in, to Beyond Light. But because we have this weird gap, it just made things a little off for the flow of the season. But overall, cool. I liked it. The Sunday playing stuff, I'm always a fan of, so I'm cool with it. What did you think, Paul?
Yeah, I liked it. I agree with you in that I think this all would have worked a lot better if the timeline was on point, like between this and evacuation. Like it was very weird to do the evacuation stuff like a month ago and have it be like, oh, it's the Guardians' last trip to Mars, and then it's just like there's like 2 more months of Mars just chilling. So it kind of really screwed up the timeline. The Knocker stuff itself was really good. I liked the Court of Orcs fight. We were getting a lot of Dreadnought hints between both that event and then there's stuff about the Dreadnought and Festival of the Lost with Spider and House of Kings and the Vex, and like, so I think that's all building toward next fall, which we'll do over the course of this year. And I really liked the Pyramid statue room. I thought that was extremely cool. I had seen that, like, someone glitched into that a long time ago, so it wasn't a total surprise, but it was very cool. Implies to me that we are going to see other races probably get darkness powers, stasis. So I would say Cabal and Hive are probably going to get stasis stuff eventually, or alter their attacks in some way, like we're seeing with the Fallen for Beyond Light. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. I wish maybe there was some sort of actual physical reward at the end of all this. Like this could have been the end of some exotic quest or something. Like it was a little weird to have lore be the only thing at the end. I guess you got your Forerunner title, which is its own form of reward. So that was cool. It's nice to finally get that. But
it's your badge of honor.
Overall, I think it was really well done.
Yeah. I actually want to double down on what you said, Paul. I forgot about that part, which is the conclusion, and you stand there and you see the races. It almost felt like a chessboard, and I like that little dynamic narratively. Like, you had the Guardians one side, like, the Cabal. I actually like that. It was a nice little touch artistically. So I was a big fan of that. I forgot all about that part. That was actually a cool part. But E, what about you, man?
I was gonna say, conveniently, the one that's not in there is Vex, and then when we see like screenshots or the trailer for Beyond Light in Europa, we're seeing Vex roam around in the Darkness ship. So apparently they've been left out of the Darkness's circle or something like. Then there's like, can never remember the pronunciation. It's like Cora.
Was it Korea?
No, it's like,
I don't know.
It's like
I
the
know
Vex.
but
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Kira, right?
See?
Uira.
Yeah. That connection to Savathun, who's kind of Vexy, that whole thing. But yeah, the Vex aren't in there, so it was kind of noticeable.
The Vex were already working for the Darkness, though. The Vex were like in Season of Undying and like working as the Darkness's foot soldiers, essentially.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, that was the soul. I got yelled at about this before. It's the soul divisive, so it was a part of the Vex that were working with the Darkness, and apparently the rest of the Vex are neutral or something. So
he was yelled at by Twitter.
Really? They tried to give you the lore.
No, that was on DCP.
Chastising
by the writer.
Shout out to DCP. That's funny.
But no, I think that's what you said too. And they actually, I feel like they mentioned it at one point. Bungie did, is like the other races over the course of the year are going to be seeing darkness powers potentially get into Cabal.
They did say
and
that,
Hive,
didn't they?
probably.
I swear they did. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds. So we're going to be. Yeah, I see. Kyria, something like that. But yeah, that actually kind of leads credence to the fact that, like, Cabal on other planets and Hive sitting on the moon might actually have some weird transition over the course of this year. I'm very curious to see what they do with us getting darkness, and then, of course, getting even farther into it through the year. It's going to be strange, but yeah, we know what our power level is going to be, and that's about it right now. So, and we know some exotics.
Yeah,
because they dropped a teaser for a trailer for the game of the. They dropped so many different pieces to that. So we've got a lot of exotics. You guys have any favorites before we go through them all? Like, if you want to just pick the high notes that you were digging on first.
What you liking, Paul?
Yeah. I like the Titan Overshield one. That sounds very cool. I hate Barricade normally, so I think that's a cool transformation of that power. I'm curious to see how the Sniper works, like as a boss DPS weapon, if the Lightning Strike thing will be actually good for that.
Yes.
And then the big stasis ice cannon, that it looks cool. I'm curious to see how that works in action. I'm also wondering if that's the raid exotic or not, or if they have shown the raid exotic or not.
No, because they did.
I'd say like 8 out of 10 of these look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm with you. The trailer was on fire. I mean, again, shout out to the marketing team, man. They always knock it out the park. It's a pleasant surprise. Yeah. The Warlock delegation is very pleased.
Yeah?
The
Are you
Warlock
happy?
delegation is very pleased.
Poison punches that keep
Listen,
punching and
bro.
spreading.
Really, I
That
thought
looks-
people were mad about the Warlock stuff, that people don't like Warlock melee exotics and people don't like super damage increasing exotics. But I thought the necrotic thing looked really cool. Depending on how strong it is, but yeah.
Normally, I would agree. Normally, we tend to get super enhancing exotic. That seems to be a Warlock mainstay. But with the Bug Snacks helmet, I do like the fact that it also it's not. See, the problem I have with the super inducing exotics is that sometimes they're just that and that's only. But what I liked about this one, it also had some melee regeneration energy synergy. So I also want to test to see if it, besides doing the Daybreak super being stronger, if doing other solar abilities also kind of work in conjunction with that exotic. I'm very curious about that. I was speaking to Cactus about that. I'm trying to figure that part out. But yeah, I mean, it looked cool. The melee stuff looked cool. I'm very interested in that. Titans, I'm a little concerned.
Are you?
Yes, I'm a little concerned. You guys
What if I'm running up on you and then I just cast an overshield and now I've still got my shotgun coming at you?
Yeah. I don't know how I
and
feel
I can
about
shoulder charge you too.
Yeah, on the go, basically one-eyed mask without tracking that you can just, power up when you want. So I'm a little jealous of that. Hunters, I'm a little fearful of the blink situation.
All I can say is pair Celestial Fire with Necrotic Grip.
Huh?
Celestial Fire and Necrotic Grip.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to proc on that. I hope it does.
We have to see if that procs. We have to see if that
it's a projectile.
Easy there.
Is it classified? I was trying to figure that out. Is if it's actually classified as a melee, because for a while it wasn't counting as a melee.
Correct.
But maybe I thought they changed it eventually.
Yeah, they did eventually change it. I remember in the beginning it didn't proc. There's a strong chance it could. You know what I'm saying? But I'm interested in that. Hunters are going to be scary, man. With that telewarp, like basically giving hunters blink within a slight invisibility, that's going to be, you know what it is? It's one of these trailers and updates that I look at, and we talked about it when Stasis was debuted. All this stuff looks fantastic. All of this stuff looks like they really have changed the sandbox, and the sandbox is going in this cool, exciting direction. On the flip side, PvP, I don't know what's going to happen, bro. Like, I am terrified of PvP, like, from a balancing standpoint, with Stasis in itself. Now you have a Stasis, a grenade launcher. You've got all these crazy abilities, and it's just funny to me because, like I said, from a gameplay standpoint, it looks fun, but I don't know how fun it is to be put in stasis. I don't know how fun it's gonna feel. You know what I'm saying?
I saw somebody on Twitter saying they're gonna lose their mind. Like if I'm frozen and somebody's like doing an emote next to me and then like shatters me, I'm not gonna be too happy. I'm like, that's exactly going to happen. That's exactly how people are gonna be like frozen, do my little dance and then shoot you. Like there's gonna be so many frozen trolling montages. That's gonna be a thing, 100%.
What do you feel about the sandbox stuff, Paul? Like how fearful are you? Worried are you?
I mean, I would sacrifice PvP balance for more fun PvE any day. So I'm not. I agree with you that I think it has a lot of potential to be a problem. Stasis, especially, you're right. Like it is never fun to be slowed or frozen, and if that's like the main thrust of stasis, like I think that's going to get very annoying very quickly if you're on the receiving end of that. Some of these exotics definitely feel entirely geared to make classes a little more crazy in PvP. I'm not sure hunters needed another crazy mobility dodge based thing in their toolkit.
Like the 100 mobility hunters.
The Titan one is interesting.
A word.
Mm-hmm.
The Titan one is like it's like a Trials of Osiris exotic, essentially, where you get overshields for your whole team, I guess, if you revive them or they revive you or something. So that seems like literally just for Trials, which I'm not sure about designing an exotic around that, but we'll see how strong that is in action.
Yeah, like that one I had questions about because hate's probably a strong word. I always, if I'm sitting there doing my little Zur videos, and I'm always like, I'm not a huge fan of something that requires me to either be almost dead or dead to actually trigger. Same thing if it's very like some are very specific to a super and you build your playstyle, but I was like, I don't want to plan an exotic around me nearly dying. That just doesn't seem smart to get functionality out of. And it says, upon revise, the Titan gains an overshield aura that protects the wearer and nearby allies. And as you said, it's basically only PvP and trials. Now, or it's like in a PvE situation, do you have to die so then we all have an aura and then we can like take more damage from a boss? Like that'd be a weird strategy to like, hey, you go get stomped on, we res you, and then we're able to survive with this aura. It depends on how long it lasts. That'd be a weird strategy to put in, but I don't see this one paying off. And then the other one
and
for
also,
me
in,
is
Nightfalls, there's a timer before you can even revive people. So like it's I can see that being very confusing, like trying to use that in PvE.
Well, maybe they get rid of tokens.
You guys have totally frozen
in the
for
raid,
me.
and it's not quite as terrible. Yeah. There was a bit of a
stream came back down.
Here, let me try and switch servers because
stream's back.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. The other one for me though is Arthrus's, which I wanted to ask you: is that even grammatically right? Arthrus's.
I don't know how to pronounce it in the first place.
And it's like S apostrophe S. I was like, really? That's so weird. But if it's a name, I guess. But either way, the double bouncing throwing knife. I was like, all I can picture on this is like a weird montage where you like bounce it behind, like do a double ricochet. But this one seems, I feel like somebody's got to prove to me that this is good because I don't see it being.
Yeah, I agree.
Like great.
It looks cool, in a trailer.
Well, yeah, in a perfectly curved corridor. And,
right. Now they did say something to the effect of what is it? I guess precision hits or something increased damage of it or something like that. Did I read that wrong in reference to that that weighted knife?
Yeah, no, we were trying to figure out what that actually means. Yeah. It's very confusing. Like the wording is precision hits, so like I can't tell that's talking about your gun,
right, or
the knife. It's very confusing.
Yeah, very very confusing in that respect. So that's one of those things. I agree with you. Like stylistically, it looks cool. I don't know in effect until we get more detail. And we have it in the wild. Oh, we will get into these weapons. Got to talk about order and weapons too.
Oh no, we're trying to get through all the armor. I think.
Oh, yeah.
So we get the armor first. My bad.
We got the Icefall Mantle. We got the scars for reses. We got the dodge, which is terrifying because it's just another way to be invisible. And they blink farther. Dawn Chorus looks cool. I will say G1 Crystal, I saw her tweet something and it's like, it's the same. And I was like this. And then she brought up a picture of a praying mantis face. I was like, oh crap.
Yo,
that's all I can see now. The Dawn Chorus
right now, yo.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy was the IRL Titan. He's like showing me like bug pictures and
I saw
he's
that.
Like, so with your warlocks, man.
Oh, I can't not see it now.
Crazy. I can't unsee it.
Well, and then you've got the precious scars. It looks like I'm wearing a seashell that's been shattered. So
yes,
like a big conch shell or something like that. But the one I want to talk about is the Lament. We have a chainsaw sword. That one's cool. That was like the teaser picture on like. Yeah, it's got a little, and it said, and even the description on it is so weird because Immortal Blade, a stalwart shield, block with the Lament to rev the blades. You actually have to block, then shred through shielded enemies. And it said we could actually take out barriers in the trailer. At its peak, damaging an enemy will heal the wielder. So if it revs high enough and you damage an enemy with it, you can actually potentially get health back with it. It's like there's a lot going on with how that thing functions. I'm very curious. Warhammer sword.
I'm just happy for an anti-barrier sword. Like that alone is game changing to me. Because that's been a long time coming. So hopefully some of these others have anti-champion things too. But we'll see.
We'll talk about the mods, but hopefully a lot of things too.
Yeah, it was interesting for them to lean into that. I felt, I felt they kind of touched a little bit of stuff like that when what was it? Leviathan's Breath came out. And it had like an unstoppable intrinsic perk. So it's interesting. Exotics kind of
stopped doing it. Yeah. Like they were doing it for a while. Yeah. But I don't know why that went away.
I agree. I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely cool with that. I mean, obviously, as we'll talk about swap later, there's one thing that we didn't get. I know E knows. I think we're gonna share that with exotic armor and stuff exotic weapons and stuff that we didn't get. But this at least kind of leans back in that direction of kind of things we want if they're going to introduce these champion type mechanics and stuff like that on exotics. But yeah, man, it looks cool. But I gotta ask Paul a question. I've got to ask
All right.
for questions because this has been you've been away and there's been a lot of debates since the campfire since you've last been here, and you know I'm going there. I got to ask him. I have to ask him. So as we saw in the trailer, a returning exotic came back. It was the No Time to Explain. You know what I'm saying? We saw the new functionality and stuff like that. You know how it operates. So before we get into your impression of this specific gun. The debate that has raged on here at the last word was in reference to returning exotics. And I need to get your stance. Like, how do you feel? Like, for example, you know, we know the situation with Hawk Moon. You know, Luke Smith said it's coming back, but clearly it's not going to have the one damage, you know, possible one or two tap functionality of the gun. I'll say it, look at the chat. They're like, it's time for Cog to be wrong. We have to see which side, look, my man is on, falls on. So clearly, like, what side do you levy? Do you feel Bungie should respect the authenticity of the gun and only bring it back in its purest form? Or if they change it, you know, this is somebody's side, you know, that it should be renamed, right? Or are you okay with them bringing guns back if they do something cool or make some slight change to it, whether it be for balance or any other purpose? Where do you stand on returning exotics?
I am okay with them changing exotics.
Oh, man, Paul Tassi, let's go! You are welcome every week on the last word.
I thought you were going to be on the other side. Okay, all right. All right, I see which side I'm on now.
Break it down why.
So
Break it down
the
why.
reason being is that so many of the old exotics, like, I know they're beloved, but they just aspects of them just wouldn't really work or wouldn't really feel right coming back. Like, we have that with Hawkmoon. Like, Hawkmoon generated too many problems with the random bullet.
This man
and then
is
you think
not
of something
a
like
humble winner, by the
Icebreaker.
way. Just gonna say that.
Preach the good word, brother. Preach the good. Don't let him distract you. Preach the good word.
You have something like Icebreaker, where the ammo regeneration just by itself caused so many problems that, like, if that got brought back, I would rather see Icebreaker do, like, serious burn damage or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there are ways to bring the old weapons back and to have them do something new. I don't even remember what No Time to Explain did before this, and yet
Was
I
that
know
the
that
weapon that was that the weapon nobody got
bullet
or not?
buddy.
Yeah. It never had the buddy thing. All it had was the reoccurring
No, there's Fate of All
bullets.
Fools. That was like the special one.
That's
But-
the one I was thinking of.
It had recall bullets or something, but it didn't have this floating buddy thing, which is obviously cooler just by nature. So if they can bring these back and make them cooler, I think that's a good idea. And, like, with exotic armor too, I did a list of, like, what's left to return, I think, like, all the missing things. And outside of a very few select, like Twilight Garrison is the one everyone wants, but, like, a lot of the remaining old exotics are just so boring and, like, basic that they would almost have to change them to some extent to bring them back to make it worth it. And I feel like that's probably true about at least some of the remaining weapons. I think some could probably be brought back and be fine, like Mythoclast and Touch of Malice and stuff. Like, those might not need super changes because they weren't, like, ultra broken or anything by the time they were, you know, stopped being used. But things like Hawkmoon, things like Icebreaker, like, I understand why that they would change them and not change the name at the same time. Like, I think it's okay to do that as long as the gun's not just, like, totally tanked and, like, it sucks now and has no identity. I think it's fine to do. So
no, let me in fairness, because I have to be fair to my boy. I can't just ragdoll him and Forte here, even though the good guys won today. But no, just all jokes aside, but, like, what about from the purity of the weapon? Because an argument that was made, and I'm giving you crap, but I do understand this side. I do. And you know, from a purity of this weapon, people are like, hey, well, if you do that, if you change it, the minute you change it, it should be. Their argument is, like, for example, Crimson, right? It's different. You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly the same. So, you know, maybe the name should change. They shouldn't call it, because this is a leg that they believe, like, they shouldn't call it, you know, Hawkmoon. They should call it something else because it is intrinsically slightly changing. Do you agree with that, or are you still okay with the name being exactly the same?
I mean, Hawkmoon, I think we're gonna have to see what the change is. Like,
oh, you're willing to wait? You're willing to give it a chance? How nice of you. That's kind of awesome that you're like open-minded to like give something a chance before you just rip it to shreds. That's cool. That's totally cool, man. Continue, sorry.
But I mean, if we're using No Time to Explain as an example, like even if that's dramatically changed from the original, but I have no problem with that continuing to be No Time to Explain. And I mean, you could even like explain this away with lore, is like weapons continuing to be worked on over time and like getting new abilities or changes as, you know, the stranger, you know, did some upgrade to No Time to Explain and now it does this dimensional portal thing. Or I don't even know the lore of Hawkmoon, honestly. That's not a story I know, but you could write that in somehow. Hawkmoon's such a specific example. I don't know if the new perk or the new way it functions is just totally has nothing to do with the original Hawkmoon,
right?
Then I can see the argument where it's like, all right, well, what's the point of calling it Hawkmoon and bringing it back if it has nothing to do with the original gun? I'm not even like a big Hawkmoon person because I was on Xbox and I didn't get Hawkmoon until it was nerfed like 2 years later.
So you understand the pain. Yeah. You understand the pain of never having it in its original form.
Oh, see, now we get the clarity. Now we get the clarity as to why there's no.
That may bias me a little bit. Because I don't have treasured Hawkmoon memories, but.
Dude, it was just a fun argument. I gotta give crap. I got killed, man. They killed your boy, bro. I was fighting this fight alone. The chat turned to me.
It's surprising. I'm surprised that more people are against that.
No, we're in the minority. The Destiny community agrees with Ebontis.
So at the time of the argument, it was all we knew about was Hawkmoon. Mm-hmm. And Hawkmoon specifically has one perk. It's Luck in the Chamber. That was literally all it was, because it was not like an energy or anything. It was a kinetic hand cannon. And it was Luck in the Chamber, and the whole point is trying to get that little ping, like the double bullets to fire. Mm-hmm. And they flat out said, that's not coming back. And that's literally all it really had. So that was why I was like, okay, so if you're going to make a hand cannon, but it doesn't do that, you could do some other, like, you could call it, who knows, I'm probably going to be, I don't have a good name off the top of my head, but you could call it something else, kind of throw a throwback to some kind of aesthetic for it, but not be Hawkmoon. But that was literally the only thing. Like, No Time to Explain, I'm not even going to argue. I don't mind that one because, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, because it takes what it was and it evolved it more.
Okay.
Because it has the returning bullets, but now it's added the portal bullets too. So you have like two things. So it like added to it. But if you take literally the one main thing that made Hawkmoon,
right,
and then now you're going to give me another hand cannon, give me a different hand cannon, was the argument at the time. But now that we have more of these to look at, that's why I was like, No Time to Explain.
Didn't that kind of make PvP suck though? Like, because it was just like it reduced so many gunfights to RNG. Like, who gets the ping? Like, isn't that why they're taking it away in the first place?
Well, potentially, yeah. But you've also got something to where it was like, if you were normally using it, your risk was at some points you would get those shots, but other times you're just using a normal hand cannon. So it was like you had some ups and downs because it was, you might win a gunfight, you might lose it, but you had the chance to win it because it was an exotic, as opposed to if it wasn't active and you never got that lucky bullet, you were just firing a hand cannon. You better hope to hit headshots. That was, I like the way the gun felt, but it was like when it procced, that was all it did. So. Yeah. No, that was my only argument. I'm not going to take this thing to the, forever. But
no, dude, he being nice. He's being nice because you hear he's being nice. I'm telling you. I got destroyed. I'm telling you, it was blood, sweat, and tears, man.
All right, I'll go back and watch the tape.
I'll send you the clip. It was class.
I was in on him at the time because it was just over Hawkmoon. And specifically over Hawkmoon, again, it is still all it has. So that's why I'm like... Right. I want to see what it does, but if it's like, if they take away the Luck in the Chamber and it's not doing the damage, it's not really Hawkmoon anymore. So that was just my argument.
Listen, I respect your opinion. You know I do.
I can understand that in Hawkmoon's case, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, Krista, Carl, you're just wrong. It ain't Hawkmoon. Look, I get it. All we're saying, like I said, the last point is that, the only reason why they can't is just from a balance standpoint. That's all it is. They if they bring it back exactly how it was, they know the sandbox will be breaking, thus the change is going to happen. And the only point I wanted to make that I forgot to make last time, and then we'll move on with this thing, was that this has happened before. Because people tell me, no, they've never really done it before, Thor, and they just enhanced it. Actually, it did happen. It was Lord of Wolves. Lord of Wolves in D1, when you killed someone, it gave recovery +3, and the mentality was a pack weapon, where you would be in a pack and you get kills and everyone stayed recovered. when it returned in D2, it completely changed. It had nothing to do with that pack mentality. So there are examples, not a lot, but there are examples where they fundamentally changed the weapon. No one was screaming. What it is a lot of Destiny fans, we have to admit, the guns are designed so well. We have this emotional attachment, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Icebreaker. But if Icebreaker was to come back, you can't have an infinitely regenerating sniper rifle in this sandbox. It would completely break it. Thus, it can't come back in its exact form. As long as they do the spirited weapon,
I was like,
cool.
and that's like, again, when it is one truth, and I get it, but I was like, Lord of Wolves still fired the way it fired, correct?
It did. It intrinsically doesn't do the same thing, sir. It doesn't do the same thing. Look, I have the notes right now.
We don't need to beat this to death, but yeah.
We don't need to beat it. Moving on.
You guys did mention Cloud Strike, though, that sniper. I am curious because PvP, I can see like some very good snipers just absolutely making chaos of lightning storms in there. But the rapid precision shots for boss damage, you mentioned it perfect, Paul, is like, how well is that going to compare for DPS on a boss? I know there's going to be data in there saying, does Cloud Strike compare to all these other snipers in boss damage? Because you know there's going to be, it's like, all right, so with this clip and the reload rally barricade, and if you just keep making lightning storms over his head, how's it go? So we will just have to see, but that one actually does look fairly cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
the
all
design
of
that is awesome with
it's
the
a giant
wizard
rock
staff.
That actually looks like a staff more. It's just a frame is built around it. I'm not entirely sure what we fire out of the gun because it does look like there's no barrel. We'll just have to see.
I mean, I assume it's an energy sniper, so it'll be like an arc energy sniper. Technically,
we shoot lightning bolts out of a rock.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the effect will be, if it'll like shoot lightning or if it'll just be like an arc bullet. But
yeah. I'm hoping snipers as a class, man, really get buffed. I really do. I miss snipers really having that potency in the sandbox. So they bring this thing looks cool. It has a lot of potential. You know what I'm saying? I would love that buff to go alongside with it. So we shall see. But
sandbox patch notes come out and snipers are hit down another 20%. Everybody's just like, come on.
No, come on. I
was like, they can't go down any lower. They already don't compare with pretty much anything else. They need to. They brought them up and we're like, they got used now, and then they took them away and we're like, why? And they still haven't come back. So
I do not understand. That's one change I'll never understand is why they did that, because they were like in a really good spot in PvE, and then
bro, same thing, man, same thing. It really sucks to see where snipers are right now. Hopefully, like I said, we get some balance back. And also, they said because of the DCV, didn't they say that should hopefully improve patch cadence? Am I wrong, E?
Oh, we'll see it when we believe it. Yeah, but sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping, man, because that's my only thing. Supposedly, allegedly, this is budget. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that would be exciting to me because I really would love them to make those changes, be more agile in the sandbox.
Well, speaking of sand and dirty areas, that's a horrible segue. You guys excited to meet our? I was like, that's terrible. I'm just sitting here looking at a picture, and it's like the. I can't even remember the place we're going to. The Cosmodrome.
Europa?
I'm looking at a dirty, rocky area. Are you guys excited to meet Shah Han? Was it you who did the Shah Han Fast and Furious? That was perfect, by the way. That you nailed it. So we're gonna get our new light guardians, and it's a quest we're gonna get to go on too. They're gonna get a guardian guide to go wander around the Cosmodrome and learn all about the new light stuff. I'm excited about this one just for the fact that hopefully new light players have an idea what's going on as opposed to here's a mission, here's a tower, go get lost. Like, I feel like that's kind of what they had before. Now we're at the point of you get to go through progression. You get to see what engrams are like, and you're going to be on Cosmodrome. They said for a little while, at least, multiple missions, things like that, before you ever go anywhere else. So it does seem like, I mean, they had to do something. They were ripping out like half of the year one campaign and everything else. But it is kind of interesting that we have a new NPC now, which is kind of cool. I wonder if he's going to like actually fight alongside you or just send you along to do stuff. What do you guys think?
I would be surprised if he fights alongside you because we have never really had anyone truly fight alongside us as an NPC. We have like Zavala and Saint doing their bubbles, but they have yet to like actually really have moving enemies that like come with us. I've been hoping for that for years, but I would be surprised.
What about you, Cog? You excited for our new buddy?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm excited for the concept of this because, as I've been telling, I've been talking to you about it, with Beyond Light and just Destiny going into Game Pass, all I can think about, all I get hit up on Twitter, for the guys that know me as a Destiny guy, hey, I'm looking to get back in, what do I do? And we know historically Bungie has always had an issue with onboarding, right? And I think they did a good job with Shadowkeep initially with doing the free to play, and then everything's kind of a la carte so that you don't have to necessarily, be disassociated and can't play with your friends on the new content if you're new. So, but I like this because it's a little bit of hand holding. It's getting you acclimated. Because the worst thing for a new Destiny player is you go into the tower, there's 1,000 icons, there's 1,000 vendors, you don't know what to do. And people, they generally get lost. So I like this aspect. As long as they keep this in the spirit of once this is completed, whether they get some blues that put you at the new light level to say, okay, you can now do Beyond Light with your friends. Because the worst feeling in Destiny is, again, I get a lot of new players that say, Cog, I want to play with you. Destiny looks cool, man. I'm in. And then it's like, damn, now I got to go do this content and Forsaken and the Red War. And, like that just separates the base. You want to be able to play with your friends, old and new, at the same time, if possible. So if they can do this and on board, I'm with it, man. This is a good start. I think this is necessary for the community, and I'm actually curious myself. I'm going to create a new. I'm actually going to make another character instead of a damn warlock all day, and actually do it and try it. I want to see how this is implemented.
Yeah, my question about this is, I'm.
You're good.
I know there's this onboarding process.
Yeah.
But what happens after? Like, so there's all these questions, or those quests about like, oh, this is how you do weapons. This is like who Banshee is and what bounties are. Like, it's going to be a lot more of a walkthrough, which is great. But like, you get to the end of that, and you're like, all right, like I get everything. I'm ready to start the campaign, and like, there is no campaign. Like, all of that stuff is gone now. So there's no more Red War. There's no more Warmind or Curse of Osiris or any of the Year 2 stuff. Right. So unless I'm missing something, like there is. Unless there's some elaborate Cosmodrome campaign we don't know about that comes kind of after the onboarding, it's more like a free trial now, where it's like, okay, here you get to learn the basics of Destiny, but then for any actual story content, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, and Beyond Light, unless you're on Game Pass, you would have to pay for that individually.
Right, good point.
And because otherwise, it's just going to be like you have access to, I think, Strike playlists and Crucible and Gambit.
Point. I didn't think about that. That's a great
patrol
point.
zones, but there's not, so far as we can tell, there's not really going to be any story content. If you just jump into a Strike playlist, you're going to get a bunch of random storylines from all the different years that aren't going to make any sense individually at all. So I'm just wondering what the process of like actually playing the game after the onboarding process is going to be like, or if it's going to feel like a big paywall, like, now you got to pay $20 for Forsaken, or else there is literally no story content.
I think you're onto something. You actually nailed something I didn't even think about. You're right. For a non, Game Pass person, or a person who, didn't buy any content, remember with free to play, the Red War was there as a base introductory thing. And now that that's gone, what do you think, E? Do you think, I don't think they give him Beyond Light missions as a start. What they give it for the new guy that didn't buy and doesn't have Game Pass?
It's weird because you could. I mean, Forsaken's a couple years old, so I'm sitting there thinking maybe they make Forsaken free because you've got a couple other I don't. Again, they need to give like free if they still want the free to play model to bring people in as an introduction. But the other piece of that is if they go free Forsaken, because that's the oldest content,
right?
How thrown off are you going to be if you jump in? The first mission is Cade writing this thing down, then he dies. They don't even know who he is.
Right.
And then they go through like they're like, who's Uldren? What's this guy? Like, how are they going to even have any care about like whatever campaign they step into? If they go to Shadowkeep as well, it's like if they do, as you said, say they do have to pay $10 because it's like second oldest or second newer content, and they're like, who's Eris? Like, I know they don't get a whole lot of introduction to these characters, and there's no history from Destiny 1, which is fine. Some of us wouldn't have it, but Cade was in like the Red War campaign and he was in the expansions and he was hanging out in the you could still go talk to him. And now the fact that like first thing you're going to do is see him die at the start of Forsaken.
That's a good point.
That's weird.
The only thing I can think of is unless they do like a version of, remember when we got D2 for the first time and, you know, we didn't have our save data carrier co-host, but our character went with us. But it kind of gave us this like historical timeline of, you know, on this day you did this raid, on this day. Obviously, these guys ain't gonna have that memory unless they do some type of a storyboarding.
I would love them to do that.
Yeah, that would ultimately be the thing to do, right? And say, okay, Guardians did this, they defeated the Great Gaul, and then you kind of lead in. So at least the new guy says, okay, this is where the narrative is. And then cinematically, and then now we can plant you here because you're right. You made a great point. There's going to be no context for Cade's death for a new guy. Like he's like, okay, who's this guy? Like, okay, there's no context. So yeah, this is an interesting. Paul, you're onto something because it is an interesting dilemma for a new player who does not buy any content, who is not over on Game Pass. And if he didn't buy anything and he just wants to test Destiny after this introductory mission is over, what is he doing? What is he doing for free? So that's going to be a good question from a narrative standpoint, from a story standpoint, because to jump into strikes willy nilly and like that makes no sense. Like it's not going to have any context there. So
there's no free raids anymore either. There were 5 free raids, and now there's none. So. I mean, I've always assumed they were going to make Forsaken free, but we have seen no indication that they're going to do that, and they're not going to do it if they made this deal with Microsoft to put it on Game Pass.
That's what I think. Yeah,
at least for the foreseeable future, it's not going to be free.
So weird. Point. Well, it's like, and then you wonder, say somebody goes, they're like, okay, I got Beyond Light, but they just buy like the base Beyond Light thing to like get into it, try it out, and they start as free, and that's where they start. They're going to see a pyramid ship and talk about the darkness and never have seen Shadowkeep. And that's the entire year of the darkness, the arrivals, and all that type of stuff. So again, the storyboarding, I mean, we did Ghost of Tsushima. Like when you had the high mythical quest or whatever, you got to see the story. Those were fantastic.
So fire, bro. Mm-hmm. You got to be hyped too. Legends coming out that deal. Yo,
man, dude, that game just keeps giving, I swear.
It's in a week.
We doing that co-op, bro. I'm grabbing you up.
Yeah.
You got to do it, bro. Come on now.
Ghost of Tsushima is like just the game that just kept getting better. It's so good. But no, just the way they did the storyboards in there. I know like cinematics are not cheap to make. I fully get that. I mean, you take the cinematic from Taken King and hell, that was absolutely amazing. But there are times when it comes to some of these stories, like they can't always have people like Bife and stuff put these things together because not everybody goes to search YouTube videos. Some people just want to play a game and see a story told to them in the game. And I hope that someday they ever get to that type of stuff. I don't have my hopes very high because they haven't done it in 6 years. But at this point, as you said, you start, and then where do you go? It seems like a good thing as a guide to get accustomed to how some of the function of the game works. But as for the story, I feel like they're going to be more lost than ever.
Yeah.
Well, this would have been good added on to the stuff they had, the past 2 years. Like the problem was not the amount of content. Like the amount of content was the best part of New Light, is that you got so much stuff for free. The problem is just pointing people to that content and explaining how the game works.
Preach.
So now they have the onboarding and the explanations, but they don't have the content.
They don't have the free content. Great point, man. Paul, you're on fire, brother. You're on fire, man. This is an interesting dilemma, and hopefully they have something in place. I'm with E, man. Give me a Ghost of Tsushima legend, style storyboarding or something, or cinematic, just explaining what your Guardian's journey has been up until this point. And then say, okay, then if you want to throw a price sticker at the end and be like, okay, for $10 at the final, you're going to join in on Beyond Light. You can knock yourself out.
Well,
but they got to do something.
I haven't played Final Fantasy 14. I know it like launched, went away. But there's like, I hear people say that like, hey, I'm almost through the free stuff to get to like the current campaign. So it does feel like some of the people who go in to play that game, I don't know if it's free or not, or it starts free, but you can go in and they seem to play through the older story and they have to kind of get through that to jump into the newest, like highest stuff. And I know Bungie's had the mentality of like, hey, I want you to be able to jump in with your friends and go. But there's also got to be something said to like go and experience what came before, what's now. And they're kind of ripping all that stuff away. One random thought though, it says running through the moth yards to collect spin metal. Do you guys think we're really going to have this other currency for Earth? I was just like, yep, 100%. I wanted to ask, but I was like, are we really getting spin metal back?
It's gonna work like any other zone. Like it has to. I'm sure there'll be a vendor. It's gonna be this dude who may or may not be Uldren.
I was like, I haven't got there, but you beat me too. Come on.
Let's get it.
I mean,
you wrote an article. You got to talk about it. That's why we're here.
Talk about it.
I did.
I regret this decision.
It is very weird for them to introduce an entirely new character with all the other context clues of Uldren. Just very briefly, like the last update we heard from Uldren is that he is in the Cosmodrome wearing a helmet as a new Guardian. Like at baseline, that alone is enough. And then there's so many other little clues, like he's wearing young Ahamkara's spine.
Yes.
And I think he's got Dreaming City pants on. Like that directly connects to his old thing. Like we know Uldren would probably be a hunter just based on his kind of look and vibe and whatever. Like if he was resurrected.
Sure. Hey.
It has been a year since he was all lost and scared at last year's dawning, and we think Destiny kind of moves in real time.
Yeah. So
people are saying like, oh, he wouldn't have a fire team in a year if he slowly understands being a Guardian. I think he would have a fire team. This does present more kind of narrative problems once you get to a point where if Forsaken is the first thing that New Light players do, and they reveal it to be Uldren at the end of this, you're like, wait a minute, why am I killing Shah Han in this storyline? Like,
wait,
that would
be going to kill him.
Become very confusing. Yeah. So like in Forsaken, like you would experience old Uldren before new Uldren. And they would have to frame it as some sort of like flashback or origin story for him. That would actually be, I didn't mention this. I thought of this just now, but like,
let's go.
That would be a perfect segue into getting people to buy Forsaken. Is he takes his helmet off and it's Uldren and he's like, let me tell you a story. And then it's like, and then Forsaken is the story and you have to buy it to see his history.
That'll be fine.
It would be a pretty big troll, I think, to have all these clues and have it not be Uldren. I know there are a lot of people pushing back against me that they don't think it is, and that it's really just some dude named Shah Han wearing a helmet.
It's just some dude.
Like, what is that name, by the way?
I guess.
Come on.
It sounds like a name you would make up when you didn't know your own name. And I mean, even before this, they had the thing about like the symbol for the Cosmodrome is the symbol that was on Uldren's armor in Deep 1.
Yep.
I think the evidence is over. Like I know I've been wrong about Uldren before when we were predicting if Season of the Worthy, the guy wearing the helmet, it's secretly Uldren or whatever. Like I know that was wrong. I am a lot more confident about this one. I don't know if it will be revealed in Beyond Light or if it might be something in a future season. As a storyline there where maybe he learns who he is, we learn who he is in season 13 or 14 or something instead of at the end of this little mini quest line. So that's possible. We might not know when Beyond Light hits, but I am pretty confident that there are enough clues there to point in this direction, but we'll see.
I'm pulling for this one. I think this theory is sound, it's a lot going for you, man. There's a lot of tea leaves going for you. And how cool would it be? Because, narratively, for Forsaken and Shadowkeep to exist and for Forsaken to still be there, and if, Shawhan is him, how cool would that be? It makes so much sense. And then, we can hopefully continue his journey, coming back and taking that spot on the Vanguard. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. Uldren theories, I'm with you all the way. I want this thing to be it. We need clarity. We need this narrative to go on, and it would be the perfect way because him now not knowing who he is, introducing you, the new Guardian, to the ways of the light and stuff like that. And it's the ultimate redemption arc. Like, it is the ultimate. It'd be so cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I want this so bad. So what about you, E? Like, where you at with this?
No, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I feel like somewhere there's a writer at Bungie in the fetal position in the corner and be like, how do I make all these spaghetti stories connect? But
yeah. Shout out to the lore team.
I was like, because honestly, like, this is, I mean, we're sitting there like speculating about all this, but they're probably like, we have a bit of a bind. Like, this is I don't know how they're going to connect. This one, this is the only thing in my mind that can make sense, or it's just like rando NPC dude. And I feel like most people that you're going to interact with in the game, be it Asher, be it Sloan, they haven't had a whole lot to them, but they've had something. So if like this guy's just going to be our Cosmodrome vendor and that's all we get out of him, I don't know, it's going to be weird. I wonder if like the voice actor for Uldren is like, you know, in Beyond Light or something like that. And we get to see, it's all those little things people are going to dig into. But
and a shout out, I don't know if it was you, Paul, in your article. I remember seeing like an old, like an Alpha D1, and Uldren was actually introduced in the Cosmodrome first.
He's like pointing the gun at him because he's like the crow,
pointing
right?
the gun at you, and
that was the original story. He was supposed to be kind of the substitute for the Exo Stranger, and I think he was like anti-traveler or something. Like he was a totally different character, and he was in the original trailer. I thought they were just going to straight up like replicate that scene, but now if he's wearing a helmet and it's supposed to be a secret, maybe not. But yeah, he originally was supposed to be in the Cosmodrome, so this is potentially circling back to that too.
No doubt. I want to shout out. We got a superstar in the chat. Shout out to the legendary Gamma Trap. He said, "Did I miss Paul finding out Ebontis has no taste buds? Remember that Destiny cooking?
Oh god,
we found out all the condiments and the things.
I taste everything. That's the problem."
At Guardian Con, that was when we met you that year. That's when we found out like the things that he doesn't like food wise when we're eating out. And Gamble Chat was on the show. It was funny. He was like, "You don't like this either." It was hilarious. Shout out to Gamble.
I have some picky eater moments and food decisions, and it was like ended up being like 30 minutes of the podcast with that man.
Yes.
So
classic.
it was just they're like, what goes on this? What goes here? I'm like,
it's classic.
I have my choices. So yeah. It was definitely a thing.
Artwork,
all right, well, we'll do dinner next Guardian Con, and I can witness it firsthand.
Yes.
There we go. Guardian Con needs to be about 2 weeks long for us to hang out with all the people that we want to hang out with. Like, it's insane how many people to like interact with. It's not going to be long enough at all. I'm going to have to get there a couple days before. We're going to eat at the Rose and Shingle restaurants, like all of them 4 times. If it actually happens. I'm honestly crossing fingers, but June... I hope. That's all I can do is hope. At this point, it still seems like it's hopeful.
I'm keeping the hope alive, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. Cosmodrome, I'm very curious. They said also like Plague Lands is like completely off limits due to the Vanguard and stuff like that. But they also said like the Cosmodrome is going to get fleshed out. Yeah, exactly. Fleshed out over the course of, I'm like, are we opening up Siva again? What's happening? So I don't know what's coming next year, but we do know that we are getting a bit of a change to mods, actually. Energy type, enhanced mods, raids, combat mods. Do you guys want to just like start with the can of worms of the raid mods? Because that was the one that I feel like is, a lot of people are kind of a fan, but I know some people who've been grinding are not so thrilled about this.
We get it.
Why are people mad about it? I don't understand why people are mad.
Yeah, why they mad?
I think mostly people are just mad.
The same
I think
mods?
most people are mad because they've been doing Scourge of the past like Sparrow runs, and now it's for nothing. I think that's the biggest piece. Is they didn't tell them that long ago. Because people have been grinding. The guys figure, okay,
what Fallen Armaments?
Fallen Armaments, like any of the Fallen mods come from that one specific run. So people have been doing Scourge of the Past runs.
Yeah,
and they're like, hey, it's going to be Fallen in Beyond Light. Go get these Fallen mods, and now we're like 30 days away. And now we know that they're like not going to function as opposed to, I don't know, a while ago. That's the one that I've heard. Like, I understand completely why, because the prime example they mention is the mods have been problematic in Gambit. And if you take Taken mods into Gambit, it's absolutely broken because all
I
you
just
have to
learned
do is,
about this. I had no idea this was a thing, and it explains so much about why people are invading with like 8 truth rockets every time. Yeah, I did not realize that, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
We're apparently all behind because I was doing the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, just throw a grenade on a goblin heavy. I'm like, damn it. How did I not think of that? So that's why the Taken mods have broken a lot of things in Gambit, which makes perfect sense. And they're just saying, starting in Season 12, Last Wish, the Garden of Salvation, and upcoming Beyond Light raid armors will all now drop with a 5th dedicated armor mod socket that is exclusive for mods related to that raid. Last Wish and Garden of Salvation armor acquired prior to Season 12 will not have this dedicated armor socket, but will still be able to use the mods related to that armor or related to that raid in the new Legacy armor mod socket. So I'll just say the rest of it too. Anti-Taken will only work in Last Wish, so that will still function because they said Last Wish was designed around those mods. Anti-Hive going away. Anti-fallen going away. All right, that's everything for the raids. So what do you guys think about like the old raid armor not quite being the same as the new, but we also do get a new mod socket? Whoever wants to start on that one, I'll tee it up for you.
I think it's fine. Like I understand the thing about the runs, but I think you could also kind of see this coming, that armaments were just too overpowered to, like, especially if they were only available in content that you can't even do anymore. Like that.
Yeah.
I would have assumed they were either being nerfed or going away just based on that alone. So it would have been nice to know earlier, but I think this is ultimately the right move. I don't know what else they could have done. I think the idea is good about just a 5th slot for mods, or a 5th slot for raid armor in the future that has more to do with the mechanics of the raid than like something that's going to make you dominate every activity with taken enemies indefinitely. Like that seems like problematic design. Because I mean, it was even like the dungeons. Like, there's 2 dungeons that are heavily taken filled. Like it kind of affected a lot of stuff. So the old raid armor, like I get people were grinding for that too, but again, you can still use the legacy mods on it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like if you have like a perfect Last Wish set, you could still use that in Last Wish all you want. I'm curious how energy distribution is going to work with 5 mods, or 5 mod slots, because
those raid mods need to be like 0.
It's 2 energy each.
Yeah, they gotta be cheap.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is like, should they even have energy costs, or should they just, you get them, you can use them? I've always said that I don't think we have enough energy slots to begin with, based on all those things. Them reducing things like the enhanced mod cost is going to be a little helpful, because those were massively expensive. Those were,
oh my god,
half or more than half of your energy in a lot of the cases. Ridiculous. So that should help a little bit. I still think that they probably need to be a little more generous with how much energy you get, but that's probably moving on to a different topic.
We'll get there. Don't worry. Cog, raid stuff before we get to what we segued into already.
Man, I had the biggest smile on this one. This was fine. Like I feel there's an ongoing joke here. The last word. Like I feel the developers always listen to Eve. Like Eve has a point. He has a stance. They always go in his direction. But this one, not that you was against this one, but this one was so me. I've been screaming this from the rooftops. I miss the days of getting raid armor, and it helped you in the mechanics of the raid. I feel a lot of raid armor has been invalidated. It doesn't have a lot of value. And now we're getting the depreciation of certain other mods, which I like, the enhanced stuff and all that stuff. They're getting the regular reloaders and all that stuff getting stronger. And then the cost is not going to be as ridiculous. But this is important because at the end of the day, they're showing that connection to the new raid and helping in mechanics. I do feel, look, man, I feel for you guys. Listen, I'm guilty for one of the Taken Last Wish mod, the Taken mod farming in the Last Wish raid. I'm guilty. I've been trying to do it, logging in each week, getting 2 or 3 chests, and then boom. But at the end of the day, like Paul said, you can't have these things in the game, which is going to give you a significant advantage that you can only get from this source, to now have you running prophecy runs with this, less taken damage, running in Gambit, all type of. It's just too much a disparity from the haves and the have-nots. It's just way too much. And at the end of the day, I knew this had to happen. So I'm okay with this. With the older version of the raid stuff, look, it still has the slot. You know what I'm saying? I understand people's frustration there, but this is one of those things, man. It had to happen. It had to go this way. I'm okay with this change completely. And I'm back. I'm all about going back to the mechanics of raids and having that extra slot. So now it feels special. There's something to be said. Hey, we're doing Leviathan. Hey, if you have this chest on, when you jump on the plate, you reload faster. Those are things I miss in D1, things that really helped in each encounter and bringing that back. And like y'all was saying, hopefully not much of a cost, if not free. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get that and it gets to the drop, you don't want that taken away from your other synergies of what you're trying to do with your build. And the last point, I love the fact that the reload stuff, they're taking all that extra RNG of the, arc, or, do you have the arc thing, and do you have the void version of the reload? All that deep layers of RNG are really unnecessary. So thank God those are gone too. So with this change, I am super pumped, man. I really enjoyed this one. What about you? Where do you stand?
Yeah, no, I mean, to clarify, that's what you guys have both said it is the weapon-oriented mods, hand cannon loader, ammo finders, scavengers, reserves. It seems like all of those are just going to be generic mods not related to any armor. So finally, you can use rocket launcher and, sword, which I know that doesn't actually make any sense, but like you can use, it doesn't matter which one's with. It doesn't matter, which is like, and they said, we've had this feedback from the beginning of Armor 2.0. I'm like, no kidding. Like, we said this as soon as it launched. Like, why is this limited? We're like, oh, well, we didn't want you to have pages. Like, we have pages of everything else, 20 different currencies. I think we'll figure this one out. So the fact that they're finally on board I'm excited about that one for sure. The enhanced mod rebalancing, take any normal mod that has an enhanced version, it's now the normal mod. But they're also saying they're like, slightly raising the cost of some, which I'm like, so you picture like enhanced hand cannon reloader, I think is like 5, normal reloader is 3, so I picture this being 4.
4, right. But having the effect of what enhanced would be,
right?
That's the key. The potency goes up still.
I'm with Paul on this one. Is like I either want more energy to work with, be it 12, 13, 4, I don't know what the number that's going to balance everything out, or lower the cost of some of these things, because if you go, if you went say you have 2 weapons and arms are the only place to get fast reloaders, and now they're both 4, you can't even use like a stat mod on that armor now because you've just you want to work with your 2 weapons. And then add on top of that, if you're going to get raids, if those cost more than 0, you're going to be in a bit of a pickle there as well. So that's the point, is like the cost of some of the mods. I know they want to like, well, you need to go a certain build. Do you want grenades or do you want to have faster reloads? And they still feel kind of not quite balanced for, I guess, ease of switching stuff around and messing with builds a lot more frequently and just trying to have more fun of the power fantasy of Destiny. It's my joke. I mean, I'm glad to see like the 5th socket, which is cool because you'll be like, you go in the raid. If you wear the raid armor, it means you got to have more sets. So we'll see how the vault feels, but you're going to have more sets in there, but also the fact that like you go in the raid, you do stuff. Hopefully you're better in the raid. We said that like literally probably an episode or 2 ago, that you get rewarded for the content that you play. Right. My curiosity though is like, I still wish they would do something like raid armor. If you did go into the raid, you're like, hey, to use this, now you've got 12 energy. I still wish they would do something like that to have the in-game content to give you armor that has more energy slots and make that really an incentive to go do in-game. Because if it's just because the only reason I say this is somebody commented I think it's my YouTube video. It's like, if he's listening to this, like not Ian Moore or something like that. He's like, well, what if somebody doesn't raid? And then the raid, the mod that you get in the raid only works in the raid. So the only benefit is literally encompassed in that one little thing. It makes the raiders better in the raid, but it gives you no incentive to take that and use it anywhere else. Right. So you would still have your set of armor that works outside of the raid, and still that one set of raid armor is still kind of stuck in the raid. So I can see that too, but it is nice to see raid getting something specific. Hopefully we get something on the weapons as well. We also get combat mods, I guess. These are all armor in Beyond Light in Season 12, Last Wish, Garden of Salvation. Basically everything that you acquire from Beyond Light launch going forward is going to have a new combat style mod socket. These will accept all Charged with Light and Warmind Cell mods. And then the old Legacy socket for the old stuff you've got is going to use that as well. So we're getting... Is that like a separate socket from, they said, like the generic like 1 year socket? Or did you guys think this is like the same thing?
No, this is the biggest deal. This means exotics can now slot Warmind cells and Charged with Light mods. So that is actually a huge deal because you don't have to screw up your builds anymore if you want to use an exotic piece. So that I'm probably the most pumped about that.
Yes.
We'll see about other kind of seasonal mods they do, like because there's some other things that go in those slots, but this is a big step forward for exotics being able to slot things like that. So I think that's a huge change. I didn't even realize that till like the 3rd time I read the TWAB because I just kind of glossed over it, but it's a big deal.
Yeah, all armor.
Shout out to the Destiny Dad Gamer. He said, how can Warmind cells work when Rasputin is reduced to being an exo of Mars and Sunset? He's good at
Good
the lore.
question.
He's good at the lore.
There's some
Salute.
lore questions there, but yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is like if you want to use an exotic, again, the Warmind cell mods and stuff still have their Arc, Solar, and Void. And if you've like leveled up an exotic, are you still stuck with a point where you have to like switch a more expensive exotic to like damage type?
Yes.
I'm still wishing the whole affinity thing would just kind of fade. We're getting part of it gone for the weapon stuff, but that affinity is still kind of limiting.
Well, the cool victory we got is like, for example, when we run like stuff like Lucent Blade and all these other, Charge with Light stuff. Remember the ones that would have those extra secondary perks that would require another affinity of that element. That's gone. Now, it's not gone, but now it's easier because it's like, hey, if you have Arc anywhere on your armor set,
right,
then that now activates. So they're lessening the restriction there. I think this is cool. Ultimately, look, I love running my Phoenix protocol, right? It sucks to have to break up my whole Charge with Light synergy by not being able to slot a mod there. So that part is really cool. This is the right direction. I'm definitely happy I'm pumped for it. But we got to be greedy. Can't just stop here. We have to get what we've been clamoring for. We have to get when it's time for the new artifact to come out. And they're talking about overload and anti-barrier. It is time for exotic weapons to get that damn slot so I can dust off Rat King. I can dust off these exotics that don't get no use. How cool would it be, right? Like to be able to put overload on a Rat King or, bust out Huckleberry when SMGs have something or whatever. It just, there's so much untapped potential. And I know they're so scared of things breaking it, but you got to let us have fun. You're letting us have fun with stasis. Like, that's the last thing I need. And then I'm going to leave them alone. But the armor here with this combat mod, love it. Just now need the weapons to be able to have unstoppable mod, all that other stuff that instead of just limiting us to these specific legendary, traps. And that part gets annoying. But that's where I'm at with it.
No, I'm with you. Like we've said, like, almost every weapon, at least exotics for sure. I mean, yeah, they have the one specifically for the season, but exotics, especially because they're exotic, should just have a slot to be, and you could literally just have a permanent pick of barrier, overload, or why can I not remember the last one?
Unstoppable.
Yeah, that's the one. Unstoppable, overload, and barrier. It'd be nice just to say, hey, let me go grab any exotic. You only get one anyway, and be able to use that for that type of stuff. I mean, we're getting a heavy that can break barrier. So like that's a new one. So we're getting a little bit with some of these exotics, but some of the old ones, as you said, Graviton Lance. Pulse rifles are probably going to be related to the artifact this time around because No Time to Explain is going to be in everybody's hands. But then Graviton Lance sits there and I can't use that for any type of thing. So it just sits in my, keeps collecting dust out there. So at some point, I'm with you. Like, we need exotics to be able to use these anti-barrier, overload, and unstoppable either freely for nothing, just because they're exotics and you can pick, or just because why not? Like, if they're going to go throw champions in the Vault of Glass, I mean, that's going to be one of those things you got to use it. So you may as well have a little fun with how you kill it all.
Absolutely. What's your stance on that, Paul? I'm very curious. Like, where do you sit? Do you think it's too much?
I'm going to push back a little bit. I'm going to push back a little bit on this.
Let's get developer talk. Let's get it.
I think having a system where you have a slot on exotics that can slot any barrier, overload, unstoppable mod, that is going to be too hard to balance. Like, I get that it would probably be fun, but people would find like the two weapons that are better than anything in any context. And so it wouldn't really be about experimentation. People would just immediately find it. I don't think exotics are ever going to get a normal mod slot either, because I think that would be too hard to balance with all the other mod slots. So I think this is going to probably play out in either one of two ways. You're talking about Graviton Lance, but actually this season we got a mod that made Graviton Lance anti-unstoppable. So the solution is potentially you have more armor mods that give a certain class of weapons, whatever perk for the season.
I'm there.
Without, like, you could still, use whatever pulse rifle, but it would automatically be unstoppable because of the armor mod. The other option is that we get rid of this whole mod system in general and be like, okay, this season, all SMGs are overload. Like, you don't have to put a mod, like, because right now I don't even I don't like taking off extended mag or something on an SMG to make it, anti-barrier or overload. Like, I don't like losing my mod slot for that, just for that activity. So I think you could just decree like, okay, this season, like this weapon is overload, this weapon is, anti-barrier, and just do it that way without mods. I think the artifacts mod system is getting a little convoluted, and it's a little limiting. So I think if they took stuff like that out and just made it like this is the season of ARs being anti-barrier, that would be a little more streamlined too. I do not see them just like giving every exotic the ability to be anti-champion in any context. I think that might be a bridge too far.
Well, if you ask for a lot,
I don't imagine them doing that.
Yeah, reach for the stars, and we might, might make it to the moon. Like, what's that terrible line?
Land in the clouds, yes.
Yeah, so it's like if we can get somewhere what you're talking about, if we ask for more, we might get somewhere of what you're talking about. But no, I'm with you guys, and I did a video on this a while back. Like the artifact itself, we've had them for a year. They're very, very samey at this point. There's like basically two. I mean, you have the anti-barrier, overload, unstoppable. That's a choice. And even as you said, like make that stuff intrinsic for the season, or it's like, auto rifles and you just know which ones have it. And so you're just aware of what's going on. Or if you just equip that weapon, it all of a sudden just shows barrier down there because you've got it. But it's like you've got 2 or 3 columns on the artifact that are useless. One's always glimmer. And glimmers. Don't even
extra glimmer from Hive Knights and
the most ridiculously specific stuff. Like, I'm gonna go grind glimmer. No, I'm never gonna go grind glimmer that way. And the fact that it actually costs. And then I think you said this before too, Paul. Like, let us unlock if you are gonna do crazy stuff like that. Unlock the whole thing. Feel like you'd said it, so I'll give you credit.
There's no point in this 12 restriction. I can't imagine because all the most powerful mods you can't even use together because it's like two of them are 6 energy on your class item or something. Right. So like you can't even use I think like Lucent Blade and Oppressive Darkness at the same time, or it's one of those. But so like you can balance that with energy costs if you really want to, but there is no reason to restrict it to 12 because you're just automatically disqualifying at least a half or 2/3 of your mods, and you're not giving people like. Sure, I'd love to play around with like the generate healing orb on precision kills for a bow, but like, do I want to respec my entire artifact for 40,000 glimmer just to get that and like to change one mod I picked? Like that's not a good system, and I do not understand. That would also be something like throughout the season, like it would make the seasonal grind more interesting because like as you leveled up throughout the season or whatever, like you unlock a mod every like other level or something, and it would give people a reason to want to get through that more when the current system is not that rewarding at all.
No. Plus past 100 you're like, oh, I get a cosmetic every 3 levels. Woo, party.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, they got to do a whole new system for post 100 leveling.
Like that no one ever is going to respec the artifact because they need glimmer. Because for one, you have to spend glimmer to get it. And 2, it's like, that'd be the thing. It's like, oh, I need to go get glimmer. Well, I have everything unlocked. Let me throw a few things on there. Let me grind out some hive. And it's actually rewarding glimmer dumps. Cool. I got my glimmer back up, switching back out. That would be the only way anyone would ever conceive of doing that. Right now, they're just like, you have to pick one in those columns unless you just overload the beginning.
Well, and stuff like the glimmer one, those should be passives like that they put in the season pass or something. Like there's so many useless things in the season pass as is. Like put some of those in. Like you hit rank 30 and now Hive Knights give 5x glimmer or something. Like that would be cool things to put as just like a passive effect in the battle pass itself, as opposed to because no one's going to waste a mod pick and a mod slot on that. Like I
they've got to have the data on it too, right? They've got to have the data on. Now that the artifact has been in the
picks those,
like who's really out there selecting that? So I agree. They should just allow us. Those should be passives, and they should allow us to pick what we want from the start. Because at the end of the day, Paul made a fantastic point. Like I usually pick Solar Plexus sometimes, Oppressive Darkness, all that stuff. The cost is like 6 energy. You can't even max that with anything else anyway. So it's just like like that stuff needs to be cut out, or they have to improve the process completely. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm hoping for is just that artifact getting just some type of rework, because we've stared at next to the same thing. Even Oppressive Darkness is low. And this is the thing too, is like, hey, Oppressive Darkness, that's a very popular mod. The 2 times it's been in there, everybody's got it. We really like it. Makes you use your Void subclass, which is usually a little more support for most of the characters. Nova Bomb separate, but I mean, you get a like it steers you into one, but it gives you a benefit from having that playstyle. they said at one point, some of those mods, they're like, hey, the ones that are favorites, we're going to make them permanent. Still waiting on that one to happen.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah,
have they done that with any of the artifact mods? I feel like they haven't.
I don't think so.
That's crazy.
Like, haven't seen in. That's like the idea of like, are they
the permanent ones
too?
they did are like the Warmind Cell and Charge with Light ones that they added. The ones like Surprise Attack and stuff are permanent. Like the way they added those, like this season. That's Charged with Light though, technically. So yeah, it's those are the only permanent ones they've added.
You get like the seasonal activity stuff. He's had the Charge with Light, the Warmind have been here, those have been interesting. Charged with Light especially is kind of cool. And as what is it, Charged with Power this fall? Because we're going to actually have darkness.
Warmind Cells especially is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, fine.
Warmind Cells.
You loved Warmind Cells. I never got into those that much. To be fair,
they did get worse now that you can't, because they were really heavily dependent on the one artifact mod that spawned them on every arc damage. So now you can still do it. I still have a Warmind Cell build on my Titan, but it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah. It was super strong, man, when it first came out. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They had some synergies going there.
But yeah, Charged with Light is now going to be Charged with Power mods, because I saw that in some little clip somewhere, because people were like Charged with Power, because it's not light, light and darkness power. Anymore. So if you're running stasis, you're not Charged with Light. So that was always kind of interesting. But yeah, like the final thing I would just say is like the season pass, and you touched on it as well. Like the season pass kind of needs a little bit of love. Like for you guys, what would you like to see out of the season pass, and especially from 100? Go ahead, you got your hand up.
Get rid of the damn exotic out of the season pass.
That was the first thing I was going to say.
Thank you.
End.
You log in and get a brand new exotic. Like, really? That seems so. You want to devalue exotics? You do it every season.
There's already so few exotics. Like putting one in the battle pass every time, and there's only like 3 a season is. And that's usually the one you don't end up using a ton, other than maybe the Ariana's Vow. But like Tommy's Matchbook, and what was the one this season? I don't know. It was Witherhoard.
No,
okay, use Witherhoard.
Witherhoard.
That would have been so much cooler to like do a quest for, or find in the wild or something. Like I do not like that. Also in the battle pass, I hate the slots that are just like your armor drops with more energy or something, because it's essentially like
it's like 6 instead of
3
5
legendary shards. That is the equivalent of like 3 legendary shards, and like you're dismantling it anyway, like 90% of the time. And like they haven't changed like anything about the season pass pretty much since launch. And like I always like the grind up to the artifact, or the not artifacts, the what are they called?
Like
the cosmetic.
Yeah, the cosmetics.
Ornaments.
Yeah.
Because those are always end up being pretty cool, like in the season pass. So that's cool to get up to the high rank of that. But like, just nothing else has changed, and like it still has like the catalyst multiplier progress, and like the energy thing, and like there's like glimmer and the crappy sets of armor you get before the good stat sets of armor. It's just it's like 75% filler at least, and it's not remotely interesting in that way.
No, and it's like, and for me, I'm the same way. It's like we talked recently that like we're 6 years into Destiny, so some of this stuff is getting a little long in the tooth. But the fact that these have been so samey for 4 seasons in a row, and it's like, here, get your power. I feel sorry for the dude who was just bored out there doing bounties where he's like season pass level 1400 or whatever that guy was I've seen on Twitter, who's like 1120 power because he apparently didn't have anything else to do. Sorry, dude. Because it means nothing. Like as soon as Beyond Light starts, it's all gone. There's no keep to that. And it's like
temporary power is bad too. Yes.
Yeah, the temporary power. And that's one thing they said they're gonna like work into the look into the bounties and the leveling system. We're a month out, and I know they're gonna talk about the sandbox, but I'm waiting for them to drop news of if leveling is gonna change at all. Because I mean, as we've already gone through the fact that a lot of stuff is going to the DCV. We're losing 7 strikes. If you got to go grind strikes, your list just got shorter. If you got to go do Crucible, you're losing some maps, but that thing, it's like Gambit. We're losing a couple. Whatever you have to go grind now is going to probably feel even more samey for us regular players. So, I mean, the whole bounty and leveling and temporary power and all that stuff, I'm kind of hoping they go away with some of that stuff, because they've said the infusion power is 1260, but the artifact, maybe it's not. I don't know. Those 2 pieces, the season pass and the artifact, we've seen them for a year, and usually expansions we get decent changes. And I think this is the time that if they don't, I guess I feel like I'm going to have a couple pieces of the next year that won't be that exciting either, which will be kind of sad.
Yeah. Shout out Sanity. He's saying, he said, here's the problem. If they get rid of the exotic in the past, what could they replace it with? And we all know it can't be the exotic cipher since you can only carry one. It's a good question. It doesn't feel good if, in my opinion, if that is one of the most valued possessions in the game, and then it's automatically given to you by paying. You know what I'm saying? You paid $10, so here goes this, exotic. It just doesn't feel good.
At the very least, put it deeper into the pass.
Something
at
farther to
least
get,
you have to work for it. Yeah,
right.
I know it's, I think, at like 30 something for free to play players,
right.
But just skipping it when you buy it, it feels very weird.
It just doesn't. It doesn't feel good. I really hope they get out of that. I think I understand the logic why they did it. They want people in that pass, and how better, to give someone an exotic. But to me, they still have to come up with a better way. And I just think that's not it. I'm already. Me and E, we already have this philosophical agreement as far as them showing too much, right? Sometimes, we feel like, you don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be mad, but I'm such a fan, but there's a part of me that misses the mystery, that misses the getting the exotic in the wild. No one has it. We don't know what the properties are. Let's go test it. There's fun to that. You know what I'm saying? There's exploration there. And I missed that from D1. And now it's like, you get the trailer, you get the Instagram pic, you get the description in all its glory, and I'm just like, all right,
you may as well get them doing game. You may as well be like, all right, so get content creators in here, get you guys previews of the weapon in action and stuff and before any of us ever have it, and that's kind
exactly.
I was we have 10 exotics. Do you guys think we know Hawk Moon? But I was like, how many more do you guys expect with this? This
a couple, not a lot.
I was like, I know Forsaken was big. That's probably one of the biggest ones.
Mm-hmm. Forsaken had 13 weapons and 12 pieces of armor.
Yep, I saw you did that math. So I was
we're not particularly close to that. I think at least 8 armor pieces. I think they're going to do, or not 8, 9. I think.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So I think they'll bring one back from D1. And weapons, I don't know. I think there's 1 or 2 hidden weapons, but I'm not expecting 13 weapons. No.
I was like, Hawk Moon's not listed, which would get us up to 5. And then, maybe one more if the raid is not already I would be surprised if they would give a full description of our raid weapon. They teased 1,000 Voices Divinity in a trailer once, but I don't think we had the full, this is what it's called.
They did for Divinity.
Mm-hmm. Did Anarchy we get it too? Anarchy should get any trailer love? Yeah, they
Anarchy was in the trailer.
They gotta stop giving away the whole secrets.
I think it's the ice one. Yeah,
Salvation's
whatever.
I think it's the ice one too. It's funny you said
that. Do you think that's a grenade launcher, or how do you think that?
I think it's grenade launcher. Yeah.
I made the speculation in my video that it was like a fusion rifle because I was reading projectile, and then as soon as I did
it's
that,
like a lob shot though.
Yeah, I was like, and then as soon as somebody's like, it's a grenade launcher, I was like, well, that's out there forever.
No, it is what it is.
I do that all the time.
Because literally, it's portable stasis. It's stasis on the go.
It's potentially power, and you charge it up. You get multiple shots that go. Kind of be curious how that one works. I will say in the trailer for the weapons and armor, we got the first tease. It's the overload shot where we got to see walking Harpy Boy.
Mm-hmm.
You actually got to see the shot of him, and he's kind of big. He's bigger than I don't know if he's. Blanking today. Apparently my mind doesn't work this morning. He looks kind of Minotaur sized, in scale, but with all the flare behind him, he looks a lot bigger. Got his 31 pieces of flare.
Bigger than Minotaur.
Yeah. Shout out to Destiny Dad Game. I'm with you, brother. Yet more catalyst, man. I'm all about the catalyst for sure. You know what I'm saying?
We already know the catalyst for No Time to Explain. That one's going to make the little portal thing shoot faster.
In a preview or pre-order bonus or whatever it is, deluxe edition.
Right.
Yeah.
Question. I got a. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. Yeah. Question before we get into that.
Not ideal.
Do you? Yeah. Do you think for the warlocks out there who usually run Arc Souls, do you think you could have the Arc Soul and the No Time to Explain thing at the same time?
Yeah.
You think so?
That was the first thing I was going to try with it, yeah.
That's what I'm going.
I don't see why you wouldn't be able
jumping into that. Yeah.
It's a buddy system.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you
you're always up.
Yeah. You think so, Paul? Oh, sorry.
I can't wait for the first 6-stack Iron Banner team that's running double buddies just everywhere. Wait,
nuts.
But no, because it's an exotic weapon, and then exotic armor is the one where you can just self-generate it at will.
Yes, it builds your grenade.
You should be able to do both. Yeah.
You're gonna have to get somebody like Stasis killed to get it to appear. So it might be
that's true.
timing.
Yeah, right.
So it won't probably be quite as like on on
Yeah,
tap.
that's
You
Is
can't
that
just
how
like
you trigger it? I didn't read that. Okay.
Yeah, it is stasis. You're right. E. I forgot about that. That's a key detail for the no time to explain one too. You're right.
Then maybe you can't, because if you have to be a stasis subclass, then maybe you can't do it at the same time. I didn't know that. Okay.
somebody else could stasis and you could damage them potentially. That might be how you get there.
Wow, then that would be a pretty rare occurrence too.
Right. Yeah. Stack this effect to summon a portal, which so it says precision hits and hits against so precision hits, that not specific, and hits against enemies affected by stasis will return to the magazine. Stack this effect, whatever that like return to the magazine stacking is, that will summon the portal. So you got to see, I guess, how many precision hits you need to get it.
Well,
or if
it's just precision hits,
it will
maybe
be possible.
And getaway artist, the exotic.
Yeah, you put piece. So I mean they're separate. You'll be able to do them both. So it does seem like it's going to be possible. Yeah, that's going to be weird. I wonder how effective double buddies will actually be. It just sounds funny to say that though. Double buddies. Double buddy.
I mean, enhanced Arc Soul is no joke by itself.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, if you go with enhanced plus that guy, and then if you have the catalyst and it shoots faster, you're just sitting there like watching people die by your little turret buddies constantly. There's going to be some fun builds. I think I will be very curious to see with like fragments and aspects and stasis how much different stasis feels than the other subclasses, because you get a lot more customization, you get builds, you do it with something like that. It's going to be interesting to see how all that stuff works together, and all we know is very little about it right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
So
in theory, a lot of the exotics, like we're not even really talking about the whole fragment thing, but like you could have teleporting hunter exotic that reloads your gun and slows people near your teleport, like all in one effect. Like that's crazy.
Insane.
I don't think PvP balance is really going to be a thing this upcoming season. Yeah.
To me, it's like I had this discussion, last night. Shout out to the Tassi podcast. I was like, it almost feels that they said, you know what?
We don't care.
We are who we are. It almost like they had a discussion in the balance room, and it's like, you know what? People like mayhem. They love that mode. We look at, let's just let them go, because I really, again, I'm all about the fun. I think this is going to be so much fun in PvE. I love it. But for the balance, guys, like when trial starts with even the Titan exotic we were talking about, right? And then all these stasis elements, it is going to be nuts. Like, it's man. It almost feels like they just said, you know what? Let them have at it, and whatever happens, and we'll deal with the repercussions after or something.
Yeah, the first balance patch is going to be very interesting.
Very interesting. Very. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was going to say, you guys brought it up, the fact that you've got a catalyst in the pre-order pack. So if you don't pre-order and you buy it like same day or a little later, how are you going to, is the catalyst like farther away? What's the grind on that thing like versus a pre-order catalyst? This is like a first for not like paying for power, but like this is like a very weird one that I haven't seen them do before. Do you have an opinion, either of you?
I mean, I can't imagine they're going to make it too difficult to earn and find just naturally. Like I assume they've done this, like the giveaway of weapons in the past, and like it's never very hard to find them, in the game itself. I don't like particularly have a problem with this. Like if the catalyst is broken and like all the deluxe edition people like are dominating in Crucible before everyone else, maybe, but I don't really foresee that happening. So it's mildly annoying, but probably not enough to write an article about.
I was waiting for that. I was like, was Tassi gonna make that article?
Probably not.
It's like, don't need to poke the bear too much.
There's enough stuff to complain about.
Oh yeah, no, he's got like trucks and fire and see, they're not happy about it right there. See, they've got an opinion
they're
out
not
there.
happy. Yeah, the joys of living next to a firehouse.
I don't know how you sleep, man. I'm just 2 hours on a podcast every week. I don't know how you sleep. You do work nights, I
live
guess.
next to a firehouse in Chicago. Yeah, it was loud frequently.
It's loud. Yeah, I'm on a near busy intersection anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting they made this choice, right? With the catalyst. I mean, this is new territory. I mean, I'm not going crazy, but you know, what's the expression we always say? Habitual line stepping. Like they just slowly, just slowly push the envelope with certain things, and I think this won't get too much pushback, but I have my eye on them as they continue down this path. What do you think? Like, you think this is getting into uncharted territory?
I mean, the uncharted piece of like paying for a catalyst or the pre-order bonuses, we already get slapped in exotic like right in our hands when we log in on day one anyway. So it's not really too far removed from that. My honest worry is the fact that it's that easy to get makes me worry how weak the gun may be because they're making it such ease of access. That's actually guns that typically seem to be harder to get, like Xenophages is full giant quest and it's an absolute monster versus here's a pulse rifle with this little like, portal shooting thing is like, is it going to really make that much of a difference anyway? That's my worry, is that ease of access means less powerful. Could be wrong, but it's kind of one of those that I know if that's
I've worried about necessarily true. I mean, look at Teraba. I mean, that's
I don't know. That's prime example. But like
it's
fair.
Yeah. Generally speaking, the raid ones are pretty powerful. Anarchy, Thousand Voices, but I don't know if it's like a hard and fast rule. Like Wither Horde was slapped in your hands day one. Yeah, that's a great gun. Ariana's Vow, but then Tommy's Matchbook was pretty garbage. So
pretty garbage.
I think there's some variance. I don't even know if they fully know like how guns will shake into the meta when they're making them. So
Well, don't worry. All the millions of Destiny players will test their sandbox in about 1 day, and Glad's going to tweet, "Hey, we broke the game," in like 5 minutes. I'm waiting to see what's the over under on hours you guys have for broken something in stasis. Because I know some people are going to be grinding, but
it's going to be very fast. Yeah. Well, yeah, it won't be all be unlocked first. You have to unlock it.
Yeah.
So maybe a little while, but
it'll be fun, man. It's gonna be interesting. All the people are gonna come up with some real creative stuff. And they're prepared for it. This is the route they want to go. I'm all about the sandbox changing in dynamic ways. So there is a part of me that is excited that they're going this crazy, this zany. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see it in action. But yeah, you best believe there's going to be a lot of things that people discover and break and get into areas maybe they shouldn't be and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. But it's gonna be fun regardless, I feel.
Well, it's always the days when we have like 13 things to try and get through, and I feel like we've got to work through a list. We're kind of getting towards the end. Yeah. I feel like anybody have any questions out there?
News just broke on something.
Oh no! Yeah, I was like, he's like leaning up, checking Twitter, and be like,
and "Something's added."
No,
I will say this though. What I thought, I mean, not major stuff, but when they talked about the maintenance and they talked about, I thought that length of time was interesting.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to re-download the whole game, so it's going to be slightly substantial. Yeah, it's like, what is it, like 15 hours of downtime, something like that?
Yeah,
no, well,
I'm not surprised given what they're doing.
Yeah, we understand. I just felt it was interesting. Like, this is probably the most downtime I've seen. You know what I'm saying? And, again, all, in my opinion, all necessary. We know what's happening. We know stuff's going into the vault. We understand the back end stuff that will require that length of time, but this will be the first time I'm like, oh wow, I'm not going to be playing for a bit. It's going to be weird.
I can almost guarantee you something is going to break. Like I think it's going to launch and there's going to be something wrong. Just with the amount of stuff they're doing and the amount of changes they're making, I think it's almost impossible. So,
well, yeah, especially working from home and test environment slightly different.
Yeah.
This is a big one. The big offline maintenance going on. So salute to the backup team. If anything goes wrong, they've tested it before and they were able to restore things if things
they roll back
up.
And take everything out of the content vault.
You have to re-download the 120 gigabyte version of Destiny. Oh, that would be pretty terrible. I guess, do you guys expect there to be a live event at the end of this season? We've only got about a month left, and you have
I
that
think
week
so.
buffer before.
I don't know how big it'll be, but I think there might be. I just have a feeling, but we'll see.
Mhm.
Do you think it's just like the director
I don't
of the
know what it
planets
was.
just like explode and then it goes black?
Slowly explode. That would be kind of awesome, but
Yeah, it'd be kind of dope. We'll see, man.
I mean, I kind of hope not, just because I'm a little burned out on those. But I would like there to be a live event like the Almighty thing that doesn't require us to do like a million public events and doesn't take like 4 hours to unfold. Like that, I'm hoping for some sort of event, not necessarily
That
a
would be
community
cool.
like farm this a million times event, but some era-ending event where all these planets go in the vault or something. But
Yeah,
I would agree. Yeah. If
Yeah,
they
go
had
ahead,
like
Cog.
some type of cataclysmic planet thing, you know what I'm saying? And, you kind of see that in the login.
like beyond
and
Mercury
again,
at this time, and like it's like consumed by darkness or something like.
yes,
it boots you to
yes.
orbit.
and you have
I
to
don't know.
respawn, and you just go to orbit because your ghost revives you or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it would be dope because I want them to expand. I think the concept of the Almighty event, really resonated with me. Obviously the execution could have been faster, but I do like that. So I want them to kind of implement that in world events. And we know this is a big one. Darkness is here, they arrive, planets are going, evacuation quests. We can get something like that. I mean, hey, that would be a cool implementation. We'll see. E?
Yeah, that's kind of my hope. I mean, as you said, you're losing not quite, but next to half of the game. So I feel like it's got to go out in some type of fashion, not just like servers go down, planets gone. There has to be some explanation, be it lore. The pyramid ships are parked there for a reason. They're in the skybox for a there has to be something to that. Whether it's just like you look at the pyramid ship and it's just this like blinding light, or it goes completely dark and it sucks the light out of the planet. Some way for them to do. I don't know. I think as you said though, it's like go here on Mercury, go here. It's like, or are all four going to happen at the same time? You just have to pick your planet, which would talk about. I would not
week,
sure
yeah,
where.
It'd be cool to do it over the course of a week or something, like each day, some new planetary event. I don't think anything's getting destroyed because if they do want to bring stuff back out of the content vault, like, I don't know, maybe it's just like darkness quarantined or something, but I can't imagine they're just going to be like straight up obliterated.
Right.
Mercury's just like,
Mercury, that can be obliterated. Whatever.
that little baby sparrow lap. Hey, at least it's a sparrowable lap now, so you can drive on it. But
no doubt. What's
That's-
up, Justin? What's up, brother? I'll tell you that in the building. What's going on,
what's
bro?
up, man? Nice.
Chilling.
Yeah, man's over here just like doing bench presses of like houses over there. He's cool.
He too busy making fun of my warlock exotics.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
But that's, I would say, like, for our guest's sake, since he's got all the podcasts in the world.
He's got like 6 more podcasts to do.
Yeah, he's just podcast all day, Saturday, Sunday, back to back.
I gotta write at least one more thing. Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's like a new episode of
hiatus after this. After tonight,
you deserve it. You've earned it.
Yeah. So, well, that was like
no, it's fun though.
It always feels odd to like kind of have so much to talk about and then yet not have as much as we think.
We
do it, and we do it every time too. It's like if I feel like there's like we've got all these like 10 weapons to get through, festival to talk about, and we've got mods, and we're all of a sudden we're like, and then we can talk about food for like 45 minutes, and like podcast goes long.
Random tangent. Yep.
Weird stuff. Paul's all about the business. Knock it out. I got another podcast to get to. Let's go.
Facts, man. It's gonna be a good one, man. We got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Looks like they're giving us a little preview for the joint, but it's like you said, like usually when it's these big type of twabs, we get nervous that we're gonna spend so long, but we actually knock it out. But when it's a light twab and there's nothing going on, we actually go off on a tangent. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm hyped, man. This was a good week. A lot of information. Got a nice trailer. Got a lot of stuff popping. And yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm pumped up. Like we're in that final stage. Those last couple of weeks right before release. Yeah. And this is when the excitement and the hype train starts. So
unfortunately, it's the preamble to an absolute week of chaos for console launches, Destiny, and 14 other games at the same time. So it feels like the calm before an absolute, literal, just giant storm. So I'm excited.
It just would have been so nice to be out in September. Like that would have just
right now. Such there's good nothing timing going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts.
Yeah.
Do you guys expect full length seasons?
I think they have to shorten them to some extent.
Yeah.
Probably at least a week or two, depending on how it goes. But because I don't think they want to keep this November date for expansions.
No,
so
I would
by
imagine
definition, they would have to be shortened. Which is good, because I think there's a lot of dead time at the end of seasons anyway, so.
Yeah, I was like, they feel like they sometimes stay a little long, as you said, by a few weeks, couple weeks, something like that. Trim each one by 2. It makes it harder on them, obviously, putting out content closer and closer together, which is, I guess, an issue of would you rather see like 3 seasons instead of 4? But either way, I guess we'll see when everything launches, but I guess we'll get all that official stuff if we start getting calendars and things. Or we'll know how long the season lasts to start gauging that as soon as we get beyond light. But we are officially at 10 o'clock, everybody. We can work on wrapping this. All of you guys out there in chat, you guys have been amazing today. Thank you all for popping in. If you guys are new to the show, we do this typically on Fridays, whether it be mornings or evenings right here on my Twitch channel. But our guest of honor, man. Next time you're on, you'll probably be over 8,000 articles, so I expect nothing less at that point.
Yeah, actually.
I was like, the way he's on it. So we get him back here every so often. Trade DMs and stuff, but man, it was awesome to have you in. And of course, it was on an amazing week. So Bungie treated you well. They gave you plenty to talk about since you have all the podcasts there.
Oh yeah, no, it's fantastic timing. But no, thanks for having me again. I always love being here.
Hello, brother.
Well, tell them where to find you, what you typically do. Gotta hype up that new channel you got, all that stuff.
Yeah, so. YouTuber, content
YouTube
creator.
I know, man, making videos, talking head videos and everything.
Amazing
it's 2020,
intros.
You gotta have a YouTube channel. Yeah. I am at Paul Tassi on Twitter. I tweet a lot, mostly about Destiny and lately about Genshin Impact. I write articles for Forbes. You can just Google my name. They'll show up there. And I have a YouTube channel, which does not have a custom URL yet because I am having problems with that. So just look for my YouTube link in my Twitter. That maybe is the best way. And then I wrote some books on Amazon you can check out as well. So a lot of different places.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Have you in the round, man. It's always a good time. Always great takes. And you were on the side of the good guys today, so I'm very pleased.
He won the exotic battle today. So
that's my man right there.
Go buy Paul Tassi's books. You want a good sci-fi book? He's got 5 of them on Amazon. Audio book form as well, man. Take them with you on the go. Read one of these man's books, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hero Killer 2 is out there now. That's the most recent, I think, right?
GMD.
That's my new one. There's one trilogy and then one 2-book series so far. So,
what's the future novel plans? Or is just too many articles to consume your writing?
Man, I've got a couple chapters into like 2 different books, but I am really falling behind in book writing with so many articles and games and shows right now. So I got to get back to it, but it can be a struggle to keep motivated for books and stuff. So
I can only imagine when you do like 4 or 5 articles a day. There's the TV show drops like before I even know it drops. He's got an article done about the whole review show. I'm like, dude, where did you watch it from noon to and then crash? I don't know how you get some of those out so fast. It's impressive.
Sometimes I get screeners, but not that many. But I got to watch the Boys finale today. Sometime I don't even know if we'll have time. But
I can't wait for that.
There's always something.
No doubt.
Well, Cog, where are they going to find you? What do you got coming up? Iron Lords, any other podcasts? I just do this podcast. Everybody else in this one is I do multiple podcasts every week. I'm all over the place. I'm just me today. So, Cog, tell them what you got. What's your other 2 podcasts you're going to be on? What are your guests? Where are you going to
be? You're funny. Listen, man, first of all, shout out to Paul for coming through, man. Always a pleasure, man. Huge fan. Always honored to have you here. Get your fresh takes and talk Destiny. It's exciting time. So salute to you on that. And Forbes is killing it, man. You guys you're the gold standard over there for gaming. Keep up the good work, man. Huge fan of your work. For me, man, just old LordCognito on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Our Lord podcast every Sunday, the Lord's Day, 11. Actually, this week, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Special time. Special guest. We're gonna have Miranda Sanchez from IGN. She's gonna be in the realm, so we're gonna talk. Yeah, it's going to be real cool, man. So check it out. We're going to get her journalistic history and then also talk about the latest in gaming, PlayStation 5 teardown most likely, We're going to talk about this potential Microsoft partnership with GameStop. Seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And a couple other topics in the gaming interesting. Dizzy, I didn't even tell Dizzy. Look, Dizzy in the chat. He's like, oh, yeah, we got Miranda. Miranda's going to be, she's good people, man. Salute to her. So, please tune in. Again, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard, Iron Lord Podcast on YouTube and on Twitch. We simulcast. And the other podcast I do, of course, is my man E. You know what I'm saying? The Last Word. Always one of the funnest, best Destiny podcasts to do. And also, guys, salute for all the support for lordsofgaming.net, man. Really, we're starting to grow a little bit as a young site, get some stuff going on, man. Got recently open critic and some other things. And salute to the team, salute to the writers. Dizzy's one of our editors-in-chiefs. He's in the chat. These guys, again, for the gamers, by the gamers, doing a lot of great content, some cool articles up. Thank you guys for supporting. That's pretty much all I got, man. Salute to the chat. Chat was on fire today. I saw Gamma in there, Mary's in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was real cool to see, man. It's good to see you guys supporting the channel. It really, really means a lot to us, man. Me and E puts a lot of work into, man. So what you got?
I try to get it going. But yeah, thank you guys this morning. By the way, don't leave quite yet. We got to go send the love to another Twitch channel. So hang out after we finish the recording. We're going to send a love a couple other places. But for me, I actually did get to be part of the Outriders Ambassador program. So I am going to be covering that. So that was kind of humbling, and I was beside myself when I got the invite, and I was like, you get to a certain size on YouTube and you're like, I get a whole lot of crap spam. I'm like, none of this looks real. You try and be like, are you real for a reply? And you're like, nope, you're full of crap. I got that email and I was like, this actually might be real. So then I replied, and like it's actually a real thing. So I'm excited. And honestly, like for looter shooters and stuff like that, it looks like it's got potential with some skill trees and classes. So another thing to sap away my time, but that thing is coming out February 2nd. So it's actually got a good release window of space, which I'm happy about. So
yeah,
that's super proud of you with that, man. That's huge. I love that. Yeah. You know, looter shooter community, we need more representation. Again, I love what Paul does, because again, you guys are the looter shooter, keeping the genre going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. So whenever I get your takes, both of you guys, you know, I really value it. So E, salute to you on that, man. That's big. Outriders, you know, it got some potential, man. So I'm curious on your assessments and breakdowns.
Apparently I'm getting some inside scoops, so I'll let you guys know as soon as I can. Yes. No NDAs, of course. Got to respect all of those, you know?
Come on.
No, that's one of those things. You ever get an opportunity, don't screw it up. That's all. That's the best way to do it. But other than that, you guys know, right here on Twitch, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that follow button. We do this every Friday. Amazing guest always, Paul. Thank you very much. I botched the start of the intro, but I think I finished it pretty strong. So
came on strong. Good. How you finish?
Of course, Cognito. Go watch Iron Lord's podcast. Of course, amazing guests on there, great chats and everything. So, man, we have fun every Friday. And Paul, it's always good to have you on. I know I talk to you occasionally in DMs about random stuff, but yeah, getting to chat with you for a little while, stealing you away for your 18 hours of podcast, man. Just save your voice, get some water with lemon and honey. I don't know what you got to do, but take care of the vocal cords. And for me,
costs.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. It's Ebontis everywhere. Shout out to you guys in chat with some of the new sub badges. The cheetah paws are in there, so they're roaming around.
Justin, man. IRL Titan it was up in there, man.
Oh, I know.
Salute to him. Yeah, salute to him, bro.
Yeah, shout out. Can you not make the rest of us Guardians look as bad? You're too swole for everybody.
He's killing it, bro.
Just calm down.
I still got the COVID belly. Stop, relax.
Well, here's the thing. You got your buffer of 2020. If you don't look pool ready by next Guardian Con, that's on you. You got 8 months. So
I got a while to go.
So Justin out there, stay swole, and I think we're gonna wrap this thing up here, and then I'm gonna finish the recording, and then we'll send you guys over to another channel, because we got a lot of you guys. We got to spread some love. So for this episode of The Last Word, episode number 123 for October 9th, it has been The Last Word.